It's been 30 years since the monsters appeared, but thanks to those who gained supernatural abilities, they're no longer a threat to humanity. And that led to a brand new international sport, the Hunter League. Our boy, Cole Phillips, was a legendary player, but after a not-so-great performance in the summer season and failing to make the playoffs, all his achievements and hard work disappeared in an instant, all because of just 2 seasons. Cole, pissed off at all the fan comments, threw his phone on the floor. His manager told him this season was probably going to be his last. The president wants Cole to retire and focus on marketing and business, and there's also the issue of his mandatory military service. They might as well just tell him straight up to leave the team. Cole would be lying if he said he never thought about quitting. Eventually, he'd get old, and his skills would start to fade. But he can't believe they want him to be a figurehead for the team, especially when he was the one carrying them to victory. Cole lost his temper and flipped the table. He stormed toward the door, saying he didn't need to listen to the manager anymore. The guy snapped, calling him an ungrateful bastard and telling him to show some damn respect and listen. The manager yelled that this is exactly why Cole's reputation sucks. He never should have wasted his time raising a useless piece of shit like him. That felt like a knife to the back. Cole turned around in an instant and grabbed the guy by the collar. The manager didn't raise him. He got so comfortable sitting here that he forgot who put him there in the first place. If only he hadn't pushed Cole to activate full bloom back in high school. The manager, choking, gasped that he did what was best for Cole. Cole let go and shoved him back into his chair. This was all his fault. But nothing would change even if Cole threw hands. He felt worthless. He'd held so many trophies in his hands, and now it was all over just like that. His high-rank skills and perks were still insanely good, like his magic weapon transmutation, but Cole had no way to grow any further. All he had left was an aging body and a skill that was prematurely locked. Full bloom was stopping him from progressing. Was everything for nothing? Was there even a point in living anymore? Cole couldn't see one, and those thoughts sealed his fate. As he stepped onto the street, all he saw was the bright headlights of a truck. A moment, a crash, pain, blood, screams. No, this isn't real. He wanted to keep going. Cole wanted to hear the crowd chanting his name again. He wanted to put on an insane performance on that stage that made his heart race, and take first place with his team with honor. That was the last thing he could remember from his past life. Time travel. Everyone's fantasized about it at least once. People always have regrets. So it's natural for them to want to go back. Most of the time it's just a fantasy, but when Cole opened his eyes, he realized he was back on the day his career began. The scan results were in, and the doctor told them to wait a minute. He congratulated Cole's mom. Her son was officially awakened. The woman couldn't believe her eyes, but her son was already pulling her toward the exit. On the way home, his mom told him not to get any stupid ideas about becoming a hunter. She said it was way too hard. The hunters Cole saw on TV were the top players in the division. There were barely any of them. Cole wanted to tell his mom that he came from the future, where he was a legendary player in the Hunter League, but she'd never believe him. So instead, he just told her he'd prove it. His mom smacked him upside the head. She wanted him to focus on high school next year. Cole was gonna prove it to her. Let's see what a legendary hunter could do after going back in time. Form is temporary, but class is permanent. The Hunter Awakening test used cutting-edge tech to analyze a person's physical potential. But there was one thing the test couldn't determine: skills. Most awakened could only guess what their abilities were and how to use them. But not Cole, because he had the all-seeing eye, which let him recognize the essence of any target. Just as expected, Full Bloom, the skill that unlocked insane talents, was back to rank E. Skills could be leveled up. Cole could always get his perks back. What mattered more right now was getting used to his current body and abilities. Pretty damn pathetic sight in the mirror. Suddenly, he heard his mom yelling that they had to monitor him for a year. His dad thought they should let Cole live how he wanted and give him a year, but his mom refused to let him act on his own. She said that at his age, even 1 year mattered, and what if he wasted his time chasing some impossible dream? Yeah, his mom was dead set against him becoming a hunter, but Cole couldn't waste time arguing with her. Then she shouted that so much could change in a year, and she was right. In just a year, players could participate in dozens of matches. They'd gain experience and refine their skills with every game. In Cole's past life, Full Bloom would have been rank B if he had started just a year earlier. That alone could have changed everything. Cole walked into the room and told his parents he didn't need a year. Just give him 6 months and he'd prove it. Later, Cole arrived at a special center to train, but he couldn't get in. The receptionist said minors needed a guardian's permission. He completely forgot about that since he was an adult in his past life. If he went home now, he wouldn't get any training in. Cole started thinking of another way in when someone clapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey." It was Derek Clark. In his past life, he was a close combat fighter who always placed second or third in the first division. He never took first place, but people constantly compared him to the top player. Honestly, it came easy to him. But of course, in this life, Cole wasn't supposed to know who he was, so he acted like he didn't. Derek said they were in the same school, just different classes, and that he was known as an awakened there. To mess with him, Cole said he'd never heard of him before. Derek just grinned. "Yeah, that happens." Then he asked what Cole was doing here. Cole said he wanted to use the training hall, but they told him he needed parental permission. Derek smirked and said he was a member of the junior club at the academy, so he had unlimited access. So he had already joined by now. But in exchange, he wanted to watch Cole train. Well, nothing's ever free. Kinda annoying, but Cole had nothing to lose, so he agreed. Cool, the receptionist booked the hall for him and listed Derek, a Soul Club member, as his guardian. In the locker room, Derek said he didn't think there was anyone at school who actually wanted to be a hunter. He meant Cole. Like he said before, he was in the Academy's club, but most of the members were older, so he didn't really know anyone and had trouble fitting in. So Cole said he wasn't here for tryouts, but nobody used this place to train, probably because everyone was preparing for the Hunter League entrance exams. Either way, he was just here to test his abilities and do some drills. Derek said he could help since they went to the same school. Man, even in this life, he was desperate for attention. If you counted his past life, Cole was decades older than him. No way was he going to ask this guy for help. On the field, Cole finished setting up the tank clone summon. If you compared it to video games, it was basically a training dummy. The only difference was that this one was so tough, you'd barely have a chance to get a hit in. Derek figured Cole must have clicked the wrong thing. He should have summoned a regular clone if he wanted to train. Even in training mode, at his current level, it'd be damn near impossible to deal with it. But Cole pulled out his sword and just said that punching bags needed to be sturdy. Derek tried to clown on him, but he should speak for himself. How do you break something hard and tough? The easiest way, hit it with something even harder and tougher. Obviously, Cole couldn't do that right now, but that didn't mean he was out of options. He had to aim for the clone's joints. When he did, he instantly felt in sync with his body. Now, time for the all-seeing eye. With this, he could spot the clone's weak points. Cole struck them and took it down without a problem. He didn't expect it to go this well. He should have recorded it. Derek said that was sick. He figured Cole must have set the clone's defense to the lowest setting. Otherwise, he'd need a unique weapon just to scratch it. Maybe Derek is twisting what he saw because he just can't believe it. Still, Cole's moves were straight up impressive. He'd definitely make it into the academy. Derek figured he must have trained with swords or spears. Now he wants to give it a shot before his team's practice starts. Cole doesn't need to explain anything. Derek will see for himself once he tries. Later, the dude swore to God he did everything the exact same way. He also set the clone to minimum defense, but the target still didn't take any damage. Derek thought he must have messed up some settings. The senior was watching him and asked if Derek was going to say hi. A guy named Sean asked why he was fighting a tank clone. Derek said he just wanted to warm up and get some training in. Sean laughed. Who the hell warms up by fighting a tank clone? He told Derek not to be an idiot since he wouldn't be able to do any damage, even on the lowest settings. Meanwhile, Cole was heading home, thinking about how weak he was. The Universal Training Base offers basic equipment for hunter training. After Derek left, Cole had the chance to fight the monsters he faced in the Hunter League, and use the AI hologram feature, which acts as a sparring partner. The dude realized he was way too weak. His all-seeing eye was only rank 8, so he couldn't hit hard. Cole's physical stats were only slightly above an average human's. He needed to work on his body to get stronger. At least Full Bloom boosted his regeneration. He could only achieve that through training. But Cole didn't have the time. The gym was only open to club members in the evening. And he couldn't keep asking his parents for permission every time he wanted to train. He needed to find a place where he could train alone. While Cole was searching online, Derek called him. The guy asked if Cole was coming to train. He promised to buy him dinner. Cole stepped into a hidden spot, and Derek immediately called him over. That dude seemed loaded. Derek said he actually had way too much money. Everyone knows you can't become a hunter if your family's broke. The awakening test and weapons cost a fortune. But still, saying you have too much money was kinda arrogant. Derek was the same as in his past life. He always did everything he could to be the center of attention. Cole was sure this guy wasn't buying him dinner just because he could afford it, so he asked what the real reason was. Derek admitted Cole was right. Dinner was just an excuse. He wanted to ask him something. Cole figured it was about the tank clone. Derek tried doing exactly what he did, but it didn't work. He was curious if Cole changed any settings. But their conversation got cut short when they noticed someone. A group of guys in the same uniform as Derek walked into the cafe. Probably his teammates. They were talking about how Derek tried to take down a tank clone with a sword and how pathetic and pointless it was. Sean asked why he was even doing that, and it turned out Derek was copying a friend. Might as well ask if his friend shoots laser beams too. Sean laughed at the dumbass. That's what he called Derek. So this was the guy messing with him while he was training hard? Cole wasn't gonna let that slide. He answered the question about the settings loud and clear, saying there was nothing to change. And it's easy if you know the trick. But hey, at least Derek was trying to figure it out, unlike a bunch of idiots claiming it was impossible. That just meant they weren't good enough to pull it off. Cole asked if no one at the academy knew about this, or did they just let anyone in if they had money? Derek begged him not to say that. Sean walked up to their table, put his foot on a chair, and asked who the hell Cole thought he was, disrespecting an academy student. The guy gave Cole 3 seconds to apologize before a real awakened broke his bones. Man, those lines were straight out of some cheesy movie, and Cole was really looking forward to that free dinner too. Cole stood up fast and punched Sean right in the face. If someone gave him 3 seconds, this was how he'd use them. The group clearly didn't see that coming. Cole never passed up the chance to hit first. To Derek, Sean was a senior, but to Cole, he was just some random dude, so he wasn't gonna hold back. Sean was pissed and tried to hit back, but he completely missed. Earlier, Sean said there wouldn't be much left of Cole if he hit him. Yeah, if he could hit him. The guy tried again, but instead he took another punch to the face. Sean said Cole was really asking for it now. Looked like he was about to use his abilities. The all-seeing eye warned Cole about the danger. Sean was using a gravity attack. Good thing Cole had quick reflexes. It was insane that he was pulling a move like that in a place full of regular people. But Sean had lost it, wrecking everything around him. Cole wasn't planning to go too hard, but now, Sean was dead. Cole could dodge his attack thanks to the all-seeing eye, but closing the distance was another story. Oh well, Cole grabbed a plate off the floor and threw it right into Sean's face. But the guy used his ability to stop the plate in midair. He mocked Cole, asking if he really thought that would work against him. But while Sean was saying that, a bowl of soup smacked him in the head. After using a skill, you have to wait a bit before using it again. It's called a cooldown. Plates flew at Sean one after another. He panicked, realizing he couldn't use his skill. If you use a skill without thinking about its cooldown, you'll be completely open to enemy attacks. When Sean snapped out of the hits, he noticed that Cole was nowhere to be seen. The hero yelled, "Head!" and suddenly punched him in the stomach. Then Cole yelled the same thing again. Sean was wondering where he'd hit next. But this time, just as he said, the hero punched him in the face. Sean hit the floor and the beatdown continued. Finally, it was over, but now what? It wasn't Cole who wrecked the place, but the hero did throw the first punch. Sean was the only one lying on the ground while the hero didn't have a single scratch. Derek and Sean's friends had already left. He had to figure something out fast. Damn, at that moment, Cole heard police sirens outside the window. Looked like there was no other choice. He scratched his own face to fake some injuries. Then he poured water on Sean to wake him up, and laid down on the floor, putting Sean on top of him, playing the victim. When Sean came to, he angrily tried to hit the hero, but Derek's shouting stopped him as he pointed the cop to the fight. Seeing the hero getting beaten up, the officer aimed his gun and ordered Sean not to resist. Looks like Cole managed to fool the cops with his acting, so there wouldn't be any consequences for him. Sean probably wouldn't tell the truth either, since he wouldn't want to admit that a rookie beat his ass. Even if he did say he used his ability, that would only make things worse for him. Later, Derek said that Sean had a rough time. He got chewed out by his teammates, and there were rumors that he might get kicked out. Looks like justice was served. Derek asked if the hero was planning to take a break, but Cole said he didn't have time for that while he was setting up the tank clone. Full bloom gives him an awakened talent when he achieves something special. In other words, the hero gains a new skill. With a shout, Cole struck the clone right in the head. A new awakened talent appeared. Name your attacks. When the hero calls out the name of his move or says where he's going to hit, his power increases. The words don't even have to match the action. Cole didn't expect what happened with Sean to count as an achievement. In his past life, he'd never seen this skill before. Perfect ability to make people think the hero is weird. At dinner, Cole told his parents that he was planning to try out for a survival show for hunters. He wanted to show them what he was capable of. Hunters, The Next Generation is a TV show about discovering and mentoring rookie hunters. Registration had finally opened. His mom thought that since it was a TV show, the competition would be way too high. His dad said you can't succeed if you don't take risks. She reminded her husband how he wrecked his business, not exactly because of risk-taking. If Cole won the competition, he'd get a spot in the academy or could join a third division team. Plus, the cash prize was massive. They'd even make him a custom weapon. His mom held her head in her hands. The hero confidently said he was going all out. His mom agreed but told him not to come crying if he lost. The competition on that show was definitely brutal. After all, they were picking the most promising candidate for the Hunter League from the whole country. But because of that, the top contestants still got huge opportunities, even if they didn't come in first. Either way, they only chose the best. Mom and Dad didn't need to worry. Cole held a bunch of trophies in his hands, and he wasn't about to lose to some amateurs. The judges of the TV show gathered for a discussion. Soon they'd start receiving applications. Linda Jones remembered how a colleague once said he had no desire to be a judge, but something made him change his mind. In reality, despite Michael's success on the international stage, he felt like he wasn't paying enough attention to his homeland. He hoped there was a hidden gem among the contestants. Judge Bill laughed, saying that if there was one, they'd already be in the pro league. The academy always made sure to bring in new talent. But that was exactly the problem, Michael said. The ones who truly thrive are the eccentric ones who just need the right guidance. Linda added that these kids needed someone to actually look after them, not just the league. Some judges already had their favorites in mind, like Ethan. The show's description said they were looking for the next star who would take responsibility for the future of the Hunter League. Cole thought that sounded cool and all, but the first stage was a written test. The form asked for his age, height, stats, and even if he belonged to any organization. He was sure this was the academy student's favorite part. In this life, he hadn't really faced many hardships yet. Now for the next question. Describe a difficult situation in a group and how you handled it. In his past life, Cole made his teammates obey him no matter what. That wasn't good. He thought he'd just show up, participate, and easily win, but he didn't expect a setup like this. If there was a practical test, he could make up for it. He clicked the button to move on to the third part. Suddenly, he was transported to a huge space. It was surprising that someone had this kind of ability, since skills usually formed based on experience or personality traits. Maybe it was a teleportation or illusion skill. This part of the test included a practical component. It was a 3-minute challenge against clones. He had to show his skills by taking down waves of them within the time limit. The weapon took the form of whatever first came to mind. Of course, Cole picked 2 pistols. They were the same ones he often used with magic weapon transformation, but his other skills weren't working. The countdown started, and the hero activated his special vision. The dummies appeared. They didn't seem to have the same tough defense as the tank clone. Cole was going to clear this as fast as possible. The judges were watching his trial, and Linda shouted that there had to be some mistake. This was a problem. They hadn't accounted for this when designing the test. Anyone could wipe out these clones if they were given a gun, so she considered it cheating. Not to mention Cole's application. For hardships, he wrote that his life had been pretty smooth, no real struggles. And for the group question, he wrote that he just made everyone follow his orders. Linda felt like he wasn't taking this seriously based on his answers. Michael somewhat agreed. After all, pistols weren't exactly ideal weapons for hunters. They were nearly impossible to use in the league and weren't great against monsters either. As soon as a weapon left a hunter's body, the mana inside it would dissipate. That meant to use firearms, you'd have to infuse mana into every single bullet, which was insanely difficult. On top of that, they couldn't store much mana, which was why most people used swords or polearms. Firing a barrage of bullets packed with high-level mana, only someone like Ethan could pull that off. Bill said he was interested in this contestant, and Michael agreed. The candidate had shown extreme insight by finding a loophole in the rules. Whether it was intentional or not, the final result was what really mattered. Besides, this wasn't the last stage of selection. They could always disqualify Cole later if he didn't meet their standards. But Michael thought maybe Cole saw weapons differently than they did. Linda was curious. How exactly? But who knew? Maybe the hero believed pistols were an effective weapon in the Hunter League. Michael thought that was impossible. Then, suddenly, he decided to make Cole try using just one pistol. The judge hoped the hero would prove him wrong. Meanwhile, Derek was telling his coach about what happened with Sean, and luckily, his friend hadn't suffered any serious injuries. The whole situation seemed weird. Maybe Sean wasn't the best at hand-to-hand combat, but his overall skill was still ridiculously high. And yet, Cole was completely fine, while Sean got beaten half to death. Well, what's done is done. The coach suggested they talk about Derek's application for the Rookie Hunter League show. Derek was just about to bring it up since he'd be busy with filming for a while. The coach asked if the guy who fought Sean was going to participate. Derek didn't know but promised to ask next time he saw him. The coach wished him good luck with his training and they said their goodbyes. Things were getting interesting. Sean was also planning to join the show. The coach couldn't wait to see how that played out. Cole arrived at the main stadium of the TV show. It had been a while since he was last here. This was the place where his journey began. The Hunter League was split into 3 divisions. The first division took place inside the tower. The second and third were held in the virtual reality stadium. Cole used to wonder why these stadiums were so huge when barely anyone used them. Looks like they were built for moments like this. Among the contestants, there were a few finalists from Hunters. The first was Freddie Hart, then Emily Stewart, and also Nathan Jones. This show happened way before Cole's debut, so he didn't expect to see familiar faces. But there were actually quite a lot. And a few promising new players, too. Wonder who's gonna win? This time it's gonna be Cole. Derek started waving at him, inviting him to sit nearby. He actually thought our boy would be stuck in the hospital for a while. To Derek, it probably looked like Cole took some serious damage. Sean got put on probation, and it would take him 3 weeks to fully recover. So Cole asked how Derek ended up here. Derek said the guy had no choice. Pro teams were scouting academy students for talent, so he had to make an impression. Smoke spread across the stadium and the host appeared. He said they always needed fresh players and new faces. The birth of a legend who would shape the future of the Hunter League was about to begin. The host welcomed everyone to the most spectacular show on Earth. Out of tiny fragments, a tower appeared. Here, the audience would meet the greatest hunters of the next generation. Every single person here today had outshined countless awakened across the country. The competition for a spot in the finals was 1 in 43. A new era of Korean hunters was here. Now, the host was going to introduce the 3 judges. Linda Jones, the leader of the Korean Hunter League, with 3 National League wins under her belt. Korea's top athlete on the world stage who placed 2nd in the World Hunter League, Michael Phelps. And Bill Stevenson, a standout player from Korea's national team. The crowd was shocked. They thought Michael was too busy competing in overseas leagues. These were some big names. They were on the same level as who Cole used to be, though he didn't think he'd lose to any of them. The contestants would take on challenges set by these judges, and the first-place winner would get 500 million won and a custom weapon made by Morris Workshop. Unreal. Even their regular gear cost hundreds of millions, and custom-made weapons were only for those deemed worthy. Maybe Cole would reach his past life's level of strength way sooner. Now Linda was about to reveal the first challenge. The 100 hunters gathered here had beaten out 4,250 other candidates. But that was still too many. The league needed a real hunter, so the first challenge would be a survival game in a dungeon where real hunters once fought. The contestants had to last until only 20 were left standing. On top of that, the top 5 performers would get an advantage in the next round. And now the trial was starting. All participants got teleported to the location. These were the lands of the lost souls. In his past life, this place was used for the finals. Cole knew this place like the back of his hand. The dungeon layout, key mechanics, ecosystem, even the secret dungeon. The guy grinned, already thinking about the best approach. Linda figured there was no way he'd be able to exploit any loopholes in a survival game. Cole had managed to pass the prelims without even showing real skill. Sure, you could argue that meant he was insanely smart, but Linda wasn't buying it. A survival game would test the core skills of a hunter. Combat, scouting, and so on. A fraud wouldn't stand a chance. The Hunter League wasn't to be underestimated. The overall skill level of the contestants was impressive. Looked like Linda had something interesting planned. It was a great way to weed out hunters who lacked experience or ability. Then she suddenly yelled, "There was a problem." One of the contestants was leaving the challenge area. Bill asked them to zoom in and show what was going on. It was Cole. He had walked up to a mysterious door. Linda's jaw dropped in shock. How did he know about this place? This was where the Lost Souls Land artifact was hidden. Artifacts were treasures buried in dungeons, coming in all sorts of forms. Sometimes just getting your hands on an artifact was enough to guarantee victory. This dungeon had never been used for challenges before, so no one should know about it. Not even First Division players, let alone regular people. Cole wasn't supposed to know about this place. Michael said that if this was a mistake, they needed to figure it out, but Linda told him it wasn't a mistake. This virtual reality was modeled after the real dungeon, and Cole had just gained access to a hidden area. Nobody knew about it, not even the Hunter League players. That's why it wasn't on the map. If that was the case, Michael asked what was inside the hidden dungeon. It was ether, an artifact so powerful that it was banned in the Hunter League. Bill and Michael considered removing it. But the only way to do that was to stop the match. You couldn't bring ether into the real world, but you could use it in the match. Still, Michael pointed out that an artifact this powerful had to have a guardian. Guardians were monsters that protected artifacts. The stronger the artifact, the tougher the guardian. Linda gasped in excitement, realizing he was right, and decided to check. Ether's guardian turned out to be a cube. Finally, Cole stepped inside. His memories were a little foggy. It had been a long time, but he found the right spot. If he could take down the Guardian and claim ether, winning this round would be a cakewalk. The cube started breaking apart into tiny fragments, glowing with blinding light. Cole quickly stepped back. He could have died if he hadn't dealt with this thing before. This cube was classified as an advanced tech relic, discovered in the ruins of the tower. He had beaten it in the finals to claim ether and secure victory. Since Cole had found it mid-match, he could use it even though it was banned. Using magical weapon transformation, he reshaped his sword into a crowbar. He figured the same trick would work this time. He jumped up and swung. It took some effort, but he managed to chip off a piece of the cube. The landing was rough, but he got a chunk of it. A monster-type guardian would have been tough to beat with his current stats. But the cube was a machine, built to guard ancient relics. As long as you knew how it attacked, you could take it down. The cube transformed into two massive hands. Cole timed his move perfectly, dodging just as they slammed shut. It was close. But he didn't waste his chance. The hands shattered into countless small pieces. Right before dodging its attack, Cole had tossed the broken chunk between the hands. No matter how tough the cube was, that piece was just as strong. Naturally, it broke. Time to grab ether. A golden staircase appeared, leading up to a pedestal with a chest. It had been ages since he last saw ether. Even if this one wasn't real, everything was going according to plan. The artifact was in Cole's hands. He attached it to his weapon. A new awakened talent, ether, had appeared. He could now use his mana to create an exact copy of ether. Beating the Guardian counted as a special achievement, so Cole got another skill, Lucky Break. Now he grabbed some pistols to test it out. Judging by the bullet marks with this skill, he might end up using his gun sooner than expected. In his past life, he had an insanely huge mana pool that let him fire bullets made of pure mana. He hadn't activated Full Bloom yet, so he didn't have nearly as much mana as before. But maybe he could pull it off using ether. It was good enough for suppressive fire, but hitting a target with it would be tricky. Still, Cole could work with that. The judges watched closely as he grabbed the pistols again. So that's how he was going to use ether. But how the hell did Cole dodge that laser shot? The cube wasn't a living being, so Michael figured the guy must be following some kind of pattern. But what were the chances he actually knew that? Linda said it was possible for pro hunters like them. But no way a contestant could pull that off. She thought maybe he had some kind of foresight skill that predicted enemy actions. Setting that aside, Cole had still managed to take down the Guardian using a chunk of the cube itself. She remembered what Michael once said: some hunters were just weirdos hiding insane potential. Meanwhile, Freddy was killing it, literally. He was top-ranked in eliminations. Everything was going just like the Seoul Private Academy's first team had predicted. With 60 people left, this round was about to wrap up soon. He didn't think anyone here could beat him in a one-on-one fight. But then he heard gunfire. Cole had finally made it out and realized he'd taken too long. 60 people were already down. He might be able to squeeze into first place if he took out everyone left. But there was no way he'd find them all. He'd be happy just making top 5. So he decided to just rack up as many kills as possible. Then he spotted Sean hiding in the bushes, waiting to ambush someone. Cole snuck up behind him and gave the troublemaker a pat on the shoulder. The guy freaked out and dropped to the ground. Cole said he had a little problem and was hoping Sean could help him out. Sean snapped, calling him a dead man and a bastard. Cole just shrugged and said he came asking for help, but Sean was acting kinda rude. That only pissed him off more, and he shoved Cole back. If Cole could just force him to use that skill, if he could spread it out over a wider area with lower power, he could slip in and snatch all the kills for himself. Though Sean sure as hell didn't look like he was gonna help. Oh well, Cole would make him change his mind. Cole started shouting, "Head! Stomach!" while swinging at him. Pretty soon, Sean's face was covered in scrapes. With a sulky look, he asked what Cole wanted. Cole suggested they team up, but Sean said he didn't want anything to do with him. That's when a gun appeared in Cole's hand. He fired a shot right next to Sean's foot. Then he pressed the barrel to his head and said he'd just get rid of him then. Or Sean could help him out and stay alive. Sean was cornered. He asked what Cole wanted from him. 2 contestants were fighting in the woods, and with a single strike, Cole took them both out. Someone threw a sword at Sean and Cole's backs. Sean spotted it just in time and stopped it with his gravity skill. Guess the gunfire was way too loud, and they'd attracted a whole crowd. Among them was an extremely pissed-off Freddy. Hunter League was a team sport. Obviously, not every player was built for offense. Even though Sean was ranked 3rd with 8 kills, gravity was the most effective support skill on the battlefield. Michael said he was doing pretty well, but in the end, he might just end up as Cole's next victim. Linda didn't think so. If Cole wanted him dead, he would have pulled the trigger already. The judges figured the two were talking about something. Looked like Cole wanted to use Sean as his support. But they were curious how he'd found the right guy. They didn't think the two had met before. Did Cole have some kind of skill that let him read other people's abilities? No. Michael was overthinking it. Bill thought they'd make a damn good duo. Sean could lock enemies down with gravity, while Cole wiped them out with his ether-fueled pistol. But Michael wasn't so sure. Didn't look like their opponents would be that easy to take down. 4 contestants led by Freddy were closing in. What was the strongest way to win a fight? It wasn't having powerful weapons, great tactics, or a solid team comp. The simplest and most effective way was outnumbering your opponent. On Cole's side, there was Sean, who could use gravity, but he was just a support. No matter how hard they tried, they probably wouldn't win. At least, that's what Freddy and the others thought. Cole dodged the sword. Man, it had been a while since he'd had to do that. Probably a first for Freddy, though. The guy didn't know what Cole had done, but now he was holding a very strange weapon. Freddy didn't care. He just planned to erase Cole and hurled his sword again. Cole fired back at the same time. Everything was playing out perfectly. In his past life, Freddy could control multiple swords at once with telekinesis. But right now, he couldn't. Blocking all those bullets was gonna be tough. The guy immediately ducked behind a tree. Unlike before, he was actually playing smart. At that moment, another contestant attacked Cole up close. Rookie mistake. If you get that close to a guy with a gun, there's literally a 0% chance he'll miss. -1. Cole kept moving and activated All-Seeing Eye, spotting 2 more hiding in the bushes. He'd take them out while Freddy was stuck on defense. The swordswoman went down, then the archer. That made 7 kills for Cole. And the last one left, Freddy. That guy's ability to deflect every shot was insane, even considering the fact that Cole's bullets were slow thanks to his weak mana pool. But too bad for Freddy, Cole was just better. The guy was struggling to keep up. Cole activated All-Seeing Eye again, and while Freddy was busy blocking, fired. He was hyped. He'd finally gotten him. But right at that moment, the trial ended. The 20 survivors were sent back to the stadium. Damn, Cole totally could have wiped them all. Just unlucky. The judges congratulated the contestants. Every survivor had earned the right to call themselves a true hunter. Considering hunters made up only a tiny fraction of the awakened, that was pretty damn impressive. The League needed people like the first generation of hunters, the ones who had protected humanity. Michael believed this survival game had given the contestants a glimpse of what it meant to be a hunter. Details for the next challenge would be revealed next week. Until then, participants were free to use the training hall to get stronger. Michael highly recommended they hit the gym at least once. The judges wished them luck, and the rankings popped up. In the final rankings, Cole placed 5th, while Freddie took 1st. The mission was complete, and the awakened talent ether stayed with him. Derek ran up and threw an arm around his friend. He'd heard Cole placed 5th. Cole asked how Derek did. The guy nodded. Everyone was talking about how Cole used a gun. Derek was really curious about how he even got it and made it shoot. But at that moment, the producers walked up and told Cole to get ready for an interview. They sat him down in front of a green screen and started filming. First question: why did Cole decide to join the show? Cole figured there wasn't a better candidate than him. Then the host congratulated him on making it to the finals and asked for his thoughts on the first round. Cole said things could have gone better, but he passed the trial like he was supposed to. He'd faced a lot of opponents, but none of them felt like real competition. Cole was a little concerned about Freddie, but he wouldn't call him a rival. In that case, the host asked why he only placed 5th. Cole smirked and said it'd be boring if he pulled ahead right at the start of the show. The cameraman and host were kinda shocked. This guy was something else. After the interview, a bunch of people gathered in the cafeteria for lunch. Derek let out a deep sigh, and Cole asked what was up. Derek said answering questions during the interview was pure torture. They kept trying to compare him to Sean. It made him super uncomfortable, probably because Sean had always messed with him, and Derek wasn't the type to badmouth his seniors. So instead, he said his rival wasn't Sean, it was Cole. That was even worse. He should have just gone with Sean. Derek asked what questions they threw at Cole. He said they were the usual, like, who's gonna win? And obviously, Cole said it'd be him. Derek figured he probably mentioned Freddie or Emily too. Cole was a solid guy, but Derek said those two were on a whole different level, even among the academy students. You could say they were the aces of their team. Derek thought they could go pro no problem. He was sure Cole would agree if he saw them in action. Cole was pissed that Derek thought those two were on another level compared to him this whole time. If he kept thinking like that, he'd never achieve anything. Time to drop that mindset. Cole stood up and said he was gonna go train. Maybe he was too harsh on Derek, but it needed to be said. Talent was more or less the same for everyone, aside from a few exceptions. The ones who surpassed the rest were the people aiming straight for the top. There was no point in thinking you were any less capable than others, especially at Derek's age. Suddenly, a guy named Dustin walked up to Cole. He'd heard he fought Freddie in the first round. He was curious about how that went since nobody at the academy had managed to beat Freddie before. It was wild. Dustin wanted to know his name, and Cole told him. Then he cautiously asked what he wanted. Dustin said Freddie had been furious when the survival game ended. And then Freddie himself grabbed Dustin by the jacket, muttered an apology, and started dragging him away. Honestly, Cole had no idea what just happened. He heard they were both from the academy and seemed to get along pretty well. Cole decided to check them out with all-seeing eye. Freddie's swordsmanship and speed were top tier, and Dustin had insane power and strength. Since Full Bloom wasn't activated, some of their stats were 50%, sometimes even twice as high as Cole's. He only won the round thanks to Ether, but the next one might not be so easy. Right now was the moment where a lot of rookie hunters chasing the pro dream were about to begin their journey. The judges gathered to discuss the top contestant from Seoul's private academy, Freddie. In his interview, he said becoming a hunter had been his dream since childhood, but it hadn't been easy. He'd failed the academy's entrance exam twice, but no matter what, he never gave up. That was when Freddie realized hard work always paid off, and he learned how to push himself further. That's why he believed persistence and unshakable determination were the keys to overcoming any challenge. Derek and Cole didn't think the show would air this fast. Tech had really come a long way. The comments weren't bad. A lot of people said Freddie's answers were too dry and boring, but they respected his humility. On the other hand, the next contestant took a less traditional approach to answering, and then Cole saw himself on his phone screen. At the interview, he said that, honestly, he never really had any struggles on his way to becoming a hunter, and if the team leaves all the decision-making to him, there won't be any problems. While Freddie is in it for self-improvement, Cole just thinks there's no better candidate than him. But they do have one thing in common. They both think there's no worthy opponents for them. The guy turned off Derek's phone and said they should go train. Derek got kinda bummed. They didn't even get to the survival game. Cole told him to just watch the replay later. Derek's curious why our guy only works out his legs. Cole asked about his role. The dude knows he's a ranged fighter, and for them, the most important thing is dealing massive damage. Besides that, mobility is key. Maybe Derek noticed that in the survival game. But for Freddie and other elite melee fighters, it's either insane mobility or attacks that are a serious threat to ranged fighters. That's why Cole's mobility needs to be just as good as melee players, if not better. Suddenly, a man walked into the gym and interrupted their convo. He corrected our guy. In the Korean Hunter League, strategies focused on taking out ranged fighters are pretty rare. He asked Cole what he thought. But who is this dude? He's definitely not just some random guy if he has access to this place. Our guy said it's true, but judging by how teams play against the British ECG or the French ALD, they always prioritize targeting ranged fighters first. In other words, it all depends on what kind of ranged fighter they're dealing with. That reason alone is more than enough for Cole to keep training his legs. The man smirked. So basically, our guy is saying that his ranged fighter skills will make him the top priority target for melee fighters. The man laughed at that confidence. Pretty interesting. But overconfidence is one of the biggest reasons people fail. He told him to take that as advice from years of experience. He'll be keeping an eye on Cole. The man left, leaving behind more questions than answers. No clue who he is, but he said he'll be watching, so I guess our guy has to show what he's made of. That man, the chairman of the Hunter Association of First-Gen Hunter, Adam Steinberg, was in his office. His assistant said the most important things for ranged fighters are support skills and attack power. That's wrong. Then he guessed that even the strongest attack is useless if their accuracy sucks. So that's why it matters. Adam told him to forget it. He got lost in memories. Back in the day, he also wondered why his buddy only trained his legs and never worked on mana. Then the guy told him, the most important thing for a ranged fighter is their legs. Monsters always go for them. Because they know ranged fighters suck at close combat. Ranged fighters always gotta stay on the move right after they fire. Young Adam was surprised it was that simple. If a ranged fighter's position gets exposed, it's basically a death sentence. Adam had a hard time understanding that since he fights in close combat. Yeah, ranged fighters need mobility. That applies to the Hunter League too. Of course, that's not really the case in the league now since most of the top hunters are dead. But in a high-level league, especially a global one, that's definitely how it is. And Cole hasn't even joined the Hunter League yet, but he's already thinking about the international scene. Is that arrogance or confidence? Cole's stats are growing way faster than in his past life. He figures it's thanks to Full Bloom. That skill has two key traits. It grants talents after completing certain missions, which basically means completely new skills. And it also massively boosts stat growth speed. Pretty insane skill. Derek asked what Cole's gonna do after training and wanted some advice for himself. Derek's already in good shape from training at the academy. He doesn't need to go as hard as Cole. Our guy said he doesn't know him well enough to suggest anything. Then Cole smirked all sinister-like and suggested a duel. The guy stepped onto a special battlefield. Derek was shook. Turns out our guy knows how to handle a sword too. If Cole had a gun, Derek wouldn't even stand a chance, but in a sword fight, he's not gonna lose. Alright, our guy made the first move. Derek defended himself, but he was definitely on edge. He has no clue what's going on. It's just a regular sword, but for some reason, it's crazy hard to fight back. Cole used magical weapon transformation. Derek figured it's all because of the gap in their talent levels. He can't get to our guy, and now Cole's got a huge sword in his hands. Derek has no idea how to block this attack. In the end, he's just sitting on the floor, completely drained. Cole asked what he thinks about his so-called rival now. Derek admitted that our guy is better than him. And then Cole said he was holding back, and it doesn't seem like he's joking. Derek's damn near in tears, feeling like a weakling compared to him. Does he really lack that much talent? Then our guy suddenly pointed out the real reason he lost, it was the wrong weapon. Cole showed him the sword Derek's been using. Now let's take a look at its strengths. Thanks to his speed skill, he's got an element of surprise and can make split-second decisions. How can he make use of those advantages with a longsword? Answer: he can't. Instead, Derek could use something for quick, light attacks like a rapier. Cole pulled one out. Combined with Derek's skill, he'd be able to wreck enemies with rapid strikes. Derek never even considered that as an option. After training, Derek said he's still not sure, but he's got an idea. Then Cole overheard someone talking about him, saying he thinks he's hot shit after dueling some academy reject. Looks like some guy's been watching them this whole time. Dude clearly doesn't like our guy, seeing as he just randomly decided to provoke him. Cole's not the type to let stuff like that slide, so he asked if the guy could actually back up his words. At first, the dude thought he misheard, but nope, our guy made himself real clear. Then Cole straight up told him to fight unless he's about to piss himself. The guy was fuming at that and agreed, but hold up. That's the same dude who placed 5th alongside Cole in the survival game, Liam. His skills and stats are actually solid. Compared to him, our guy's stats are basically nothing. If it all came down to raw power, Cole would definitely lose. The guy suggested they use a battle room. Cole said he wouldn't even need guns to beat the shit out of someone like Liam. He's one of the best rookie players. Besides, guns are useless since Liam already knows about them. The guys decided to start. There's a chance Cole could lose. But that doesn't mean he's backing down. Our guy swung his sword first. Liam threw 3 daggers. He's a mid-range fighter. Cole planned to pressure him so he couldn't counter. Our guy deflected the first 3 daggers, but dodging these next ones in time wasn't gonna happen. Thank God for the ether he got from Full Bloom that blocked the hit. Otherwise, it would have been game over for Cole. Looks like Liam plans to keep throwing knives while keeping his distance. On top of that, the dude has telekinesis. He was sure he had our guy, but somehow Cole managed to deflect the daggers. Looks like he's got an ace up his sleeve. Our guy transformed his sword into a dagger and threw it at him. Liam laughed, thinking he could easily stop it with telekinesis. But Cole knew he'd do that. The first dagger was just a setup for the real attack with the rest. Liam stopped 4 daggers with telekinesis, but he couldn't use that ability on multiple targets in such a short time, which meant that the last dagger, the one Liam fully stopped, was definitely gonna hit him while he was focused on the others. And with that, the system announced Cole as the winner. Michael and some guy were watching closely. Cole was the judge's predicted winner, and the man, who Michael showed everything, put on analysis glasses. He said Cole's got great strategic instincts and hiding those 3 knives was a smart move. Not to mention his stats aren't even that high. Michael knew that. The guy is sure he knows something about Cole. He's curious about what kind of skills our guy has, because there's no way Cole could have pulled off that strategy if he didn't know about the opponent's telekinesis. Michael's thinking, he's got something like Analysis Eye, like that guy or the first-gen hunter, Philip Kreiser. Analysis Eye is an insanely useful and rare skill, and only 2 people are known to have it. Maybe people are expecting too much from Cole just because he predicted the enemy's skill. If anything, Michael thinks they might actually be underestimating him. Our guy knew about the hidden dungeon, and during the qualifiers he only went after the clone chips. If Cole debuts in the first division, people would say he's the reincarnation of Philip Kreiser, the legend himself. Michael's sure the guy wants to recruit our hero, and yeah, he does. His analysis eye can see people's stats, but not their skills. But this guy, Cole, knew about the opponent's telekinesis and came up with a plan to counter it. The guy asked what team Cole's gonna be in. He must really like our guy. But unfortunately, the teams sponsoring the show get first pick. Grinding his teeth, the guy thought he had to find a way to get Cole on his side. Meanwhile, our hero doesn't get why Full Bloom is considered a big achievement, but he's not in a rush to figure it out. Derek's been training and thinks he can beat Cole now. Our guy told him to quit talking nonsense, but Derek's eager. He's gotten way better. His sword skills have never been this sharp. Derek really has gotten stronger after following Cole's advice, but he still doesn't stand a chance against him. Meanwhile, all the contestants got called to a special class. Cole and Derek took their seats too. Are they actually about to get taught something? The judges walked in. Linda greeted everyone and asked how their week-long break was, or more like their week of training. For some of them, it was probably pretty productive. For others, not so much. Either way, she thinks they all still have a lot to learn. Each of them is a promising talent with huge potential. But there's still a massive gap between them and pro hunters. That's why the judges put together a team of mentors for them. Each of the 3 people standing before them has competed in First Division leagues, scored victories, or earned other achievements. They'll be handling both training and performance evaluation. They'll be teaching them how to fulfill their roles. And their work will be judged in a 3-on-3 mini-hunter league. One of them's already exuding pressure. Just his mana manipulation alone is putting weight on everyone in the room. Not bad. The mentor named Bruce Tiles is going to train the close combat fighters. He can't stand people who don't show resilience or willfully stay ignorant. But more than anything, he hates cocky assholes. Mr. Tiles told them to stay humble and take their lessons seriously. After reviewing performances in the qualifiers, survival game, and last week's training, the judges decided on roles for each of them. Once their names are called, they'll go to their mentors. First up, Cole. He got placed in the close combat team. That's a shock. He can't wrap his head around why the hell they put him here. There's Freddie, and Emily, and Derek. This group's packed with promising people. Mr. Tiles stepped onto the field. He told them to forget everything they've been taught so far. He doesn't care what academies they came from because every single one of them is weaker than 3rd Division hunters. As they might have noticed during the Hunter League match, all hunters use skills or devices. For mobility, powered by mana, like air anchor and air step, these devices let hunters engage in more dynamic and flashy fights. Mr. Tiles is going to teach them how to use air anchor and air step. He doesn't need close combat hunters who can't use them. Time to get started. They're definitely hard to use the first time. Back then, Cole could use them like they were part of his body. Let's see if his muscle memory's still got it. Mr. Tiles is pissed at how bad the guys are doing. They're supposed to be the future stars of the Korean Hunter League. The 3rd Division League isn't called the Rookie Graveyard for nothing. It's a perfect trap for idiots like them. The coach is so damn loud, Cole can barely focus. Looks like Derek's struggling too. But honestly, that's expected. They didn't get any instructions at all. Derek's doing it wrong, and Cole told him to get down. Derek asked if our guy's even planning to train, since Mr. Tiles is going to be testing them on this. Cole told him to worry about himself. Does he really think he's going to get anywhere at this pace? So Derek asked what he's supposed to do. Cole told him to start by figuring out the length of his mana rope. Then he's got to keep a steady mana flow, otherwise the rope's length is going to keep changing. That's why Derek can't keep his balance. And he also needs to focus on his center of gravity. When he's in the air, his body should act as the center of gravity. Cole showed him how it's done, landing perfectly on his feet. That makes it way easier to prevent falling or reposition his body. And he needs to focus on keeping a steady mana flow. Derek kept repeating it in his head and gave it another shot. To his surprise, it actually worked. He said he must have a talent for this. He pulled it off on the first try. Mr. Tiles yelled at them for chatting. They're not here to mess around. Useless punks can't handle anything. The coach asked for Cole's name. Cole introduced himself. Looks like the coach is trying to put them in their place. But our guy doesn't care. Mr. Tiles said it looked like Cole was just standing there doing nothing because he's so confident in his skills. Cole said, yeah, looks like it. He could step back. But he's curious about how they're planning to test them with the air anchor and step. Considering his past life, Cole's actually older, and it's an elder's duty to guide the younger ones. Mr. Tiles decided he's given them enough time and is starting the test. Michael was pissed and asked why the hell Cole's name is on the close combat team list. Maybe Linda messed up. He assumed Cole would be placed in the long-range team. She thought about putting him there, since he knows how to use melee weapons, but more importantly, he's too selfish. That's why Linda put him in Mr. Tiles' group. Looks like her plan is to push the rookie to his limit by pitting him against a First Division hunter. Linda thinks everything's fine. She wants to knock the arrogant hotshot down a peg. The test is to reach the air anchor at the top, and Mr. Tiles hopes that the guy who was confident enough to slack off will actually prove himself. Because if he can't, then he doesn't deserve to be a hunter. Looks like he's trying to get rid of Cole with this test. So our guy asked what the coach will do if he actually pulls it off. Mr. Tiles said he'd give Cole absolute freedom to do whatever the hell he wants in his classes. But the coach is sure it's impossible. That anchor is 100 meters off the ground. That height is out of reach for first-time anchor users. Even mid-level users can't do it, and yeah, everyone kept failing. But then Mr. Tiles noticed Freddie using his sword to propel himself up. That's something way stronger than telekinesis. Too bad he's not using the air anchor, but maybe he can still climb higher. Everyone was also amazed by Cole's insane agility. Mr. Tiles turned around. Cole looked like he wasn't even afraid of falling. But then his air step failed and he started to drop. Luckily, he grabbed the anchor and managed to regain his balance. Now Cole's right close enough to snag that coveted top anchor. Naturally, he pulled it off. Mr. Tiles can't believe it. The students are using these devices for the first time. The next day, the guys are in class. During the lecture, the teacher explains that in close combat there are two main roles. The first, the initiators, whose role is to start the battle and defeat their opponents. Boring theory after practice. Cole's practically nodding off. It's cool that Mr. Tiles can't really say anything to him. The second role, familiar to everyone, is the melee fighters. Their task is to jump into the fight after the initiators. If you break it down further, there are a lot more roles, but for now, that's all you gotta know. And heck, Cole had to win a bet. He spent years in the Hunter League, so for him it was a piece of cake. But anyway, somehow he ended up with a note from some stranger in his pocket. It said to meet after class in the backyard at 7 o'clock from the training center. Somebody wants to show something interesting. Looks like it's worth going to check it out. Cole showed up at the spot, but there was nobody there. Maybe it's some kind of joke. But with that all-seeing eye, it's clear there's something underground. The hero got closer, and a staircase leading down opened up in front of him. He slowly started to make his way down into the secret area. And there he was met by Chairman Adam. Cole had already looked him up online. The man smiled. The hero had managed to get here after all. The hero said the note was useless. Who would ever get here with directions like, at 7 o'clock from the training center? It must be that Adam was testing whether he'd find his way. Then Cole asked why he was called here. The chairman had watched all the show's moments with our hero. Well, only one episode's been on air so far. Of course, that's not all he knows about Cole. Adam had seen his training, where he demonstrated incredible mobility and observational skills. The hero caught his interest. The chairman decided to try and guess who'd win the show, and he figured it would be Cole. But that's not all. Adam's sure that he'll get to the first division and maybe even higher. But the hero was still interested in what they wanted to show him. The chairman wrote that it was something interesting. The man pressed a button and the doors began to open. Behind them was S-rank weaponry and specialized mana gear. Cole asked why they were showing him this. Adam asked if the hero didn't want them. Of course he does. He even sees the weapon he used in his past life. Caliborn is an incredible sword that he was given in a demonstration duel as a prize for winning a match. Using that sword was extremely enjoyable. It was just as special when it was turned into a pistol. Adam can lend Cole one of these weapons if he wants. Then the hero asked if they couldn't just give it to him. The chairman replied that he'd have understood if he knew the price of that weapon. It's way more valuable than the weapon that Cole will get from the Morass workshop. The hero sighed. After all, it's just a weapon. He suggested cutting the crap and asked what Adam wanted from him. The chairman was surprised. People, as a rule, try to suck up to him when they learn that he's a first-generation hunter and the chairman. But this guy looks down on him. You don't see that every day. Adam offered Cole to join the Hunters Association not as an employee, but as a hunter. If he joins, the man will let him borrow any of the weapons presented here. But what does Cole get out of it? Of course, he knows what it means to join the Hunters Association. But he doesn't understand what benefit there is for him. If that's all Adam can offer, then he's out. Soon the next class is starting. Adam stops him, saying that maybe he's overestimating his abilities. He mentioned many young talents who excelled in the second and third divisions, but didn't go any further. However, Cole isn't interested. The only thing that matters to him is whether he can do it or not. He appreciates that Adam showed him all of it and said goodbye to the old man. Cole left, and the chairman was amazed, sighing in admiration. The hero came into the office. Derek was stressing out that he wouldn't make it on time. Cole always has him stressing out, especially like back then with Mr. Tiles. The hero replied that he isn't that irresponsible. And they won't get kicked out for being late. The show's gotta go on no matter what. Anyway, Cole mentioned that some old dude wanted to meet up. Honestly, the hero could have taken him up on his offer. But with that kind of experience, he can handle it just fine on his own, without those weapons. Either way, he'll get a custom weapon from the Morris workshop for winning. Cole'll wait until he's worth more, and then he'll go all out. And if that doesn't work out, he'll just start his own team. The judges are hoping that the mentor lessons paid off for the guys. It's time to put those skills to use. The contestants are going to take part in 3-on-3 battles in the air combat zone. In this round, the winning team moves on to the next stage, and the losing team gets disqualified. Also, to up the ante, the judges have prepped a special prize for the winners, a mana flow stone. It boosts both the amount and the efficiency of mana, just what Cole needs. He's gonna need more mana as soon as he picks up new skills. Looks like he's gotta win this round, since this match is the start of the real qualifiers. Everything that's happening is gonna be recorded live. In fact, they're already filming the contestants. Their lesson results will help determine the pick order. Whoever has the highest score gets the privilege to choose their team first. That's it. Michael asked everyone to head to the waiting rooms. They'll meet up when the 3-on-3 battles start. Now the guys gotta choose their team. The judges' shoot is done. Cole did well in the survival game, but he's a total asshole. He's competent, but he totally lacks any empathy for others. Linda thinks that'll be a drawback for him, since the game's all about teamwork. Michael noticed her. She's setting up a team round in the air combat arena, even though there are still a full 20 contestants left. Given her tendency to simplify things, it would have made more sense to run an individual skills round. Michael says the contestants aren't ready for team battles yet, and Linda gets that too. She admitted that, to be honest, she wants Cole disqualified. It doesn't matter how good you are at handling things, whether it's with the air anchor or the air bat. Being solo is like being as vulnerable as a bunch of ducklings. In the big arena, contestants are required to cover long distances fast, so Cole's gonna fall behind again because of his low scores. Michael hasn't seen Linda fixate on anyone like that before. She thinks our guy's got talent, but right now he doesn't need a win. Bill agrees. He says that being too cocky is a terrible trait, especially for rookie hunters. Even First Division players can crash and burn in an instant if they get careless. But Michael, on the other hand, thinks that in the Hunter League, the confidence that leads to triumph and the arrogance that leads to failure are two sides of the same coin. Let's see how Cole handles the obstacles from the judges. The hosts announce to our guy that he's first. He's got the top stats, so he gets to pick 2 people for his team. Then Cole found Sean and Liam and told them to give it their all. Liam got pissed, wondering why the hero picked him, as if he was mocking him. Looks like he's one of those cocky types. Apparently Liam can't accept the fact that he lost to Cole. There shouldn't be any issues with Sean. He saw it all with his own eyes. After all, he's just a kid. Cole said that in this round he's gonna take the lead. He believes in the guy's abilities and is counting on them. Liam was stunned, but in the end he caved. "Man, you'll do anything for a win." The guy asked if there was a plan. Of course, that's exactly why Cole picked those 2. They gotta do whatever he says. The guys were quietly discussing something among themselves, and the hero promised something. Liam shouted in surprise. He thought Cole was joking. It's not like the hero can explain that he's from the future. Cole said to just do what he tells you and try not to screw up. If Liam messes up, it'll work in the opponent's favor. Better not, that's what they agreed on. The 3-on-3 battle in the Mini Hunters League is about to begin. The arena is the air combat zone. If you even touch the ground or become unfit to play, you're out instantly. Contestants who lose will be eliminated. The judges wished everyone good luck. Cole gathered his thoughts and teleported onto the field. Now it's time to act. He's on a skyscraper southwest of the center, and as far as he can tell, there's no one else in this building. Sean's in the southeast part of the arena. Liam's on the east side, somewhere between the center and the edge. They're in touch with Cole through an earpiece, running his plan. Sooner or later, they're bound to cross paths. For now, Sean and Liam just need to keep moving toward the center and try to stay unnoticed. If they run into someone on the way, fall back immediately. There are only 3 teams of 3 in this trial, so the chances of running into an opponent in an arena this huge are pretty low, which means Cole's gonna have to draw some attention somehow. Someone fired a shot. Doesn't matter who let the arrow fly. Bet they haven't even linked up with their teammates yet. So Cole just ignores it. His goal is to reach the high-rise in the center of the arena. Liam and Sean are in position. They've found a decent hiding spot. Cole asks about their view, how well they can see the surroundings. They need eyes on our guy. They can see him, but Cole probably won't spot them. Game on. The hero fires a shot into the sky. Now we wait. Right on cue, Dustin shows up asking what the hell Cole's doing here. The guy says he's lucky, been waiting for the right moment. Cole's gonna be his first target. But Dustin needs to let Freddy know. Cole tells him not to bother. Dustin left his mic on. Freddy tells him to stall, but if he gets the chance, take him out. Cole, of course, hears everything. Freddy's already on his way, so no funny business. If Cole waits too long, he'll be dealing with both of them. Best case scenario. Dustin keeps running his mouth, throwing out a bunch of questions. He knows our hero aced the test better than anyone. Blah blah blah, dude just won't shut up. What makes him so sure Cole's alone? Dustin says that if he wasn't, his teammates would have already jumped him. Dustin apologizes but still wants to hear the details about Cole versus Freddy. He's way stronger than our hero, not that it's a surprise. Gotta keep some distance. Cole backs off using an air anchor, but Dustin's got air step down too and takes off after him. He's keeping up pretty well, still talking even in midair. Cole moves to another building. Then he starts shooting. No dice. Dustin deflects the bullet. Gotta admit, the guy's got talent as a hunter. Pistols aren't gonna cut it. Cole's ether isn't as strong as the one he got in the survival game. Taking this guy out quick isn't an option. His weapons aren't strong enough. And he's running low on mana. Suddenly, Cole stops. Freddy finally shows up, and he's not messing around. Cole tells Sean and Liam to get ready. As soon as Freddy moves in, Cole gives the signal, but the guys don't show up. Freddy and Sean hesitate for a second but decide it's a bluff. Freddy's back at it with the telekinesis. They're chasing Cole, saying he won't trick them. But they don't know Sean already hit them with a gravity attack. Cole starts falling. Freddy yells, asking if he's got a death wish, but literally a second later, they started falling too. Liam caught Cole with telekinesis and saved him from the drop. But no one was there to save Freddy and Dustin. They realized they screwed up and got eliminated from the trial. For a moment, Cole felt like his whole body was being squeezed from all sides. Not the best feeling, but tolerable. Liam never thought he'd use telekinesis like this. Cole's plan actually worked. But if it had come down to a direct fight, they wouldn't have gotten off so easy. He drew their attention and made them chase him, and once everyone was airborne, Sean hit them with a surprise gravity attack. Liam, on the other hand, caught Cole with telekinesis, but their opponents weren't so lucky. The game wasn't over yet, though, so Cole told them to stay sharp. Maybe other contestants saw the fight, meaning there's a good chance they won't fall for this trick. Meanwhile, Emily took down 3 hunters by herself. Not surprising, honestly. And now it's time to announce the winners. Cole's entire team made it. Emily was chewing the guys out for losing to Cole so stupidly, falling and getting knocked out like that. She was in total shock. How could they mess up this bad? They've done this kind of competition before. Dustin started making excuses, saying Cole's strategy today was flawless and they weren't ready. Freddy apologized, admitting it was his fault. He should have been more careful. In his past life, Cole thought the same way. Instead of sulking over losses, he analyzed them. Meanwhile, Liam came to apologize for the harsh words earlier. But the guy got flustered and walked off, saying Cole probably already forgot about it. Guess Liam's the type who won't admit he's wrong, even on his deathbed. Linda couldn't believe how easily Cole's team crushed everyone. A totally unexpected outcome. A complete and undeniable victory of strategy over brute force. Michael said it, this guy's something else. And this competition wasn't even supposed to test strategic thinking. Coming up with a plan based only on his teammates' skills wasn't easy. What's even crazier is that he teamed up with people he doesn't even get along with. Cole is insanely calculated. Round 1 of the show is over. Time to crown the champions. Cole's team steps onto the stage. They scored the most points. Each of them gets a mana flow stone. Finally, step 1 of Cole's plan is complete. Maybe with this artifact, he can awaken full bloom. The host wishes them luck in reaching the finals and becoming legends, or better yet, making it to the world stage. But not everyone here is worthy of being a hunter. The losing teams are going through elimination. I mean, it's a competition show. Makes sense to kick people out. Looks like only 13 contestants got cut this time, and Derek's one of them. This time, the trial is a 2-person team challenge. For the task, teammates will have to move in sync and secure a capture point. The captured area has to be defended from opponents for a full minute, but there's another option. The kill zone. Players can claim these battle spots and rank up by taking out enemies. Since there's an odd number of participants, they can invite a previously qualified player as a partner. But in that case, the partner won't get eliminated if the main participant doesn't earn enough points. Just as Cole expected, Freddy and Emily teamed up. He would have done the same in their place. The easiest way to pass the trial is to pick a strong partner. Looks like Derek still hasn't found one. Kinda curious if he'll manage to avoid disqualification. Who knows what fate has in store for him, but right now, he's facing elimination, and that's risky. Suddenly, Derek ran up to Cole. He's hoping our hero won't turn him down. After all, they go to the same school. And besides Cole, there's no one else left, but Cole is absolutely not interested. Derek started begging. Cole just told him to switch weapons and gave him some pointers like he's his mentor now or something. Cole had no idea how the hell he ended up playing mentor all of a sudden. Whatever, fine. He'll help, but only because he's got nothing better to do. Besides, Cole was planning to test out the mana flow stone anyway, curious if it'll boost his skills. But he told Derek he has to follow orders completely, no exceptions, and this is the last favor he's getting. That night, in his room, Cole pulled out the stone. Time to see what it can do. Its owner gradually absorbs the artifact's power, increasing their mana pool. If you swallow the stone, your skill levels instantly go up. Yeah, before his rebirth, Cole had already worked with a stone like this, and this one has the same effects. All-seeing eye, magic weapon transformation, and full bloom all got stronger. The awakened talent Name Your Attacks got a boost, just like Ether. His main stats really did go up. Mana count increased by 1 too. Before, his Ether power was just enough to stall an enemy. But maybe now, Cole could get an upgrade just as good as the one the original artifact gave him in the survival game. That worked out well. Cole already had a plan for tomorrow's trial. Now he could finally get some sleep. Tomorrow was going to be rough, and then he had a dream. It all started with a small organization that almost went bankrupt. Soon after awakening, he managed to unlock his abilities. That's when he got an offer from some company director to join their team, said he'd help develop his skills. In return, he wanted Cole to activate Full Bloom ASAP, because without it, he wouldn't make it to the league. They told Cole the skill's effects would be weak at his current level, so he wanted to wait. He joined the team. But since he didn't unlock the skill, they never let him play. The director kept pushing him, kept saying players were just disposable, and Cole wasn't special just because of good training. In the end, Cole changed his mind and awakened Full Bloom. The director found out and was beyond happy. Cole kept growing and getting stronger. He won the championship trophy and made a name for himself. But an early awakening of Full Bloom meant an early burnout too. Cole woke up in a cold sweat. Not the best memories. But this time, things were different. Success was guaranteed. He'd already laid the groundwork for his future career. And he did it way earlier and way better than other young athletes. Cole won't deny it. Right now, he's barely able to take on the top rookies of his generation. He needs to put in the work, but if he awakens and strengthens Full Bloom, he'll reach new heights. Screw his past life. Cole showed up at the center and asked if Derek was ready. Derek said he was 100%. He planned out everything, from warm-ups to strategy. Cole was surprised he actually came up with his own plan. Derek's strategy? Just do whatever Cole says? Cole really thought he'd suggest something useful. Clearly, the guy's a total idiot. Everyone gathered at the stadium again. The crowd was here to cheer for the players in elimination. Who was getting knocked out today? Time to find out. Cole teleported to the map. Just looked like a regular city layout. Derek asked if there was actually a plan. Cole said they were heading straight for the center. Their goal was to capture a point. They didn't care about the kill zones. As soon as the match started, they were gonna run for it and try to take the center first. Derek started freaking out. Freddie and Emily were among the opponents. Those two would definitely attack anyone trying to claim that area. Were they really about to walk into a lion's den? Cole told Derek that if he was gonna act like this, he might as well go home now. Derek tried to talk it out, but prep time was almost up. The second the match starts, they run to the center. Cole told him to get ready. 10 seconds left. No one in this game could use air step or air anchor as well as him. First priority, get to the capture point and block off the other players. Emily was still pissed. Because of Cole, she had to fight 3 opponents at once. If it weren't for him, they wouldn't even be here. Freddie asked what she was thinking about. Obviously, she was remembering how Cole played them last time. She grabbed Freddie's shoulder and told him to snap out of it. He needed to focus. All he had to do now was not make dumb mistakes. Freddie got it, but he still thought Cole wasn't as simple as she made him out to be. Emily knew that already. She had a plan. In that 3v3 match, she lost only because she was holding back her abilities as much as possible. This time, she was going to go all out and do whatever it took to avoid losing. No more overthinking. As long as she impressed the judges, she wouldn't get eliminated. Emily suggested the standard strategy: engage Cole in close combat and take him out with one hit. The hero asks why Derek isn't here yet. but the guy just can't keep up. Cole's already got himself a solid position. He says there's no time to sit around. As soon as Derek gets there, they'll take the capture point. Derek's still unsure. Every player's gonna focus on them, but Cole's got a plan. Then he tells Derek not to rush too much or play it too safe. He needs to get noticed. Right then, from a crazy distance, Cole takes a shot and drops a player. Just a standard headshot, but powerful as hell. Feels just like Ether from the survival game. Reminds him of Ethan's level. No, Cole already surpassed him in his past life. And now he's surpassed himself. He fires again and takes out another player. Derek jumps at the loud bang and says something. Cole just tells him it was him. Cole says to turn to 9 o'clock and move 3 blocks in that direction. He'll be on the second floor of a blue glass building. Maybe he should clear out a kill zone while he's at it. Linda can't believe it. Michael just smirks. Told her so. Cole's an incredible shooter. Looks like the guy's really got talent. Linda agrees, but maybe he just recently got some kind of ability. Michael reminds her that Cole showed off his shooting skills back on selection day. But if he was already that good, then why did he need to hunt for an artifact in the survival game? And his weapon choice is weird. Even top players barely use something like that, even in training. Maybe he managed to upgrade Full Bloom. From what Linda knows, that skill awakens new talents. Suddenly, Adam walks into the judge's room. They tense up, but the chairman tells them to stay seated. He heard there's some interesting player on the show and wants to check him out. Michael asks if the chairman is scouting a candidate. Not quite. Unfortunately, Adam's offer has already been rejected. Gotta admit, though, Cole's a gutsy kid. If he had known things would turn out like this, he would have raised his bet. But the chairman doesn't dwell on the past. He prefers to keep moving forward, always looking for new solutions along the way. Adam hopes fate will cross his path with Cole's again someday. All 3 judges are in shock. Looks like they weren't expecting this, but facts are facts. Michael respects his positive mindset. He's curious about what this sly old man is planning. Meanwhile, Derek's in position. Cole tells him to get to the second floor and head to room 1701. So that's where the hero's been hiding. Just like Derek suspected, the place is empty. Most players probably decided to stay outside. Right now, they're just watching what's happening in the arena. Jumping in now would be way too risky. Derek asks about the plan. He wants details. Cole just tells him not to worry about the other players. Then he asks who's easier to take down, Freddie or Emily. Derek turns pale when he realizes he's picking his own opponent. Cole reassures him. They just need to hold out for 1 minute. While Derek keeps one of them busy, Cole will defend the capture point. Derek's brain short-circuits. Cole calls his name. This is really happening. Derek still can't believe they're actually pulling this off. They get to the capture point and take control. If they let any players inside or leave the area themselves, the hold timer resets. Time left to complete the mission. 1 minute. Cole grinned. Time to start. His team takes the capture point. Emily's pissed. So now it's not enough for the guy to just snipe players from cover? Freddie figured there might be some hidden stashes on this map, but that's unlikely. It's not a copy of some real downtown. It's just a city map for survival mode. They can't rush the capture point unprepared. Might as well just surrender and be done with it. There was a powerful artifact hidden in the survival game zone. If not for that, they would have won. Last time, Cole got away thanks to his perfect maneuvering and mobility. But the limited space of the capture point is gonna seriously restrict his options. Maybe he doesn't even plan on holding it. What if he just wants to draw attention and dip right in the middle of the fight? Emily told Freddie to listen up. Now they get what Cole's after. Strength isn't his thing. And in a closed space, his mobility won't help him. He's definitely gonna try to profit off the chaos. That'll break out once other players start fighting over the capture point. Emily and Freddie aren't gonna battle for the captured territory no matter what. But they gotta wreck Cole's plan before the bloodbath starts. Then a system message stops them. A few players went inside, and none of them made it out. Wait, if Cole really wanted to take advantage of the chaos, he should have just bailed and stalled them until the other hunters showed up. Freddie says they've got a problem. 20 seconds left on the clock. Derek realizes they're fighting till the death. He's not sure their plan's gonna work. As soon as an opponent steps into the room, Cole's already got them in his sights, and if he misses, or if they manage to dodge the shot, Derek jumps in. The guy just hopes it all goes smoothly. Right then, a player charges into the room. He wanted a fair fight. But Cole drops him with a bullet instantly, another one down. The next guy smashes through a wall and hides behind the debris. Bullets won't go through the wall. No big deal, that's what Derek's here for. Dude grips his sword and lunges at the player. But he's not alone, there's a girl lurking behind him. With his all-seeing eye, Cole calculates the perfect angle of attack. And just like that, another team is wiped out. Half the time is up. 32 seconds left. If they keep this pace, they'll clear the mission for sure. But that's not what Cole wants. His goal? Kill every last one of them. While the hero's distracted, Emily and Freddie make it into the building. Cole barely gets a shot off before they're already up close. Then everything starts crumbling. The whole building's about to collapse. The capture point's destroyed. Now what? 17 seconds left. Emily tells Freddie they're out of time and need to act fast. In that short window, Cole fires a few more shots and takes out 3 players. It's over. Emily's got no idea what to do. She can't even tell where Cole's shooting from. She needs to spot him somehow through the massive cloud of dust. No matter how good Cole is, there's no way he can handle this many people solo. Feels just like old times. Back then, his team hit a rough patch. They almost dropped to 9th place in the rankings. They had to do something fast. 4 of his teammates got caught in a trap set by their opponents. Meanwhile, the other team hadn't lost a single player. Cole's squad was getting wiped, but somehow he managed to escape. He had to win. Dropping to 9th wasn't an option. That time, he took down a building just like this. The audience thought they were witnessing a suicide attempt and that Cole was about to quit. But it was a plot twist. No way was the guy giving up that easily. The building was seconds from collapsing. The dust cloud made it impossible to see. But even in that chaos, Cole landed every shot. Back then, he took out 3 players at once. Each team was left with just 1 member. The crowd wanted to see a heptakill. No one had ever pulled that off in the league's history. But there was a problem. Cole ran out of mana. Sadly, no record-breaking moment happened. The hero fell to an opponent's sword and his team dropped to 9th. They were just 1 step away from victory, and that same step led him to this exact moment. This time, things are different. Cole's got more mana than he knows what to do with. No more slip-ups. Just like that, Emily and Freddie are eliminated. The judges jump out of their seats. Cole just wiped out every player. The mission was supposed to be about controlling the capture point, but the hero didn't just hold it. He massacred everyone. All right, Linda's gotta admit it. This guy fights like a pro. Michael already said it. Cole's a beast with his weapon. There's no way you pull that off. Without insane shooting skills, the judge saw it back at the tryouts. This kid's got serious potential. Bill agrees, but here's what he wants to know. How did Cole even see his targets through all that dust? What kind of ability do you need to pick such an unconventional weapon at such a young age? Michael figures Cole's got some kind of special skill that helps him hit his targets. And that same ability gives him the confidence that he can handle any situation. That's the answer. The community's losing their minds. No surprise this episode's a hit. Cole just solo wiped every opponent. You don't see that every day. Sounds insane, right? But really, it's not that big of a deal. Cole had the upper hand. He's pulled off this strategy before. Now, if he'd had to face them head-on, nothing this crazy would have happened. Cole unlocks a special achievement. His full-bloom rank levels up. He gains a new talent, Legendary Sniper. Derek asks if the hero's been hiding his talents this whole time. He wants to touch his gun, just once. Cole never mentioned he's got such a huge mana pool, and Derek's curious. How the hell did he pinpoint his opponent's exact locations in all that dust? Cole just says, instinct. Derek laughs. That's how the hero treats his only friend? So cold. Wait, did the guy just call himself Cole's only friend? Cole never really thought about it before. But right now, he really doesn't have anyone else he could call a friend. Well, except this dude. Is Cole's social circle really that small? The judges step onto the stage. Linda says not everyone's cut out to be a hunter. Most of the time, it all comes down to talent. Honestly, that's pretty brutal. And on this show, they only want the most talented and capable. The kind of hunters who can reach insane heights and dominate the league, which, yeah, is even harsher. But for those who didn't make it, there's still a shot at success down the road. And what about the ones who did pass the test? Maybe they should celebrate. But they shouldn't forget, this is just the beginning. Linda welcomes them to the Hunters League. The judges wasted no time picking the best of the best. In such a short period, they've already singled out a few. Now, they just have to go through the final evaluation. In other words, the last trial. Of course, it follows the league's standard format, a 7-on-7 team battle. teams need to be formed by today, and the match goes down in a week. There'll be a champion and runners-up. Oh, and by the way, a very special guest will be attending that match. As Cole leaves the stadium, club representatives are practically fighting for his attention, begging for a minute. Honestly, getting into a team that meets his expectations would be ideal. So the hero suggests they all move to a more suitable place to talk. All right then, since they all came here for Cole, he suggests they start the discussion with the terms. The first one was William, the coach of the Seoul Academy team. They'd help him debut in Division 2 and eventually move up to Division 1. They had a student exchange program and a personal coach to prepare for international competitions. Cole cut William off. He wasn't the only one here. He asked him to sum up what made them special. The man threw in a signing bonus, 100 million won plus an annual salary of 200 million. Another candidate offered a one-time payment of 300 million and a steady yearly salary. 300 million just for joining the team? That was a tempting offer. But Cole wanted to pick his own teammates. Then again, who said he had to join anyone at all? Another rep made the same offer and was open to discussing extra conditions. In that case, Cole said he wanted full control over picking his team. Silence. Of course, they wouldn't agree to that. The meeting was over for today. The men left their business cards, promising to talk to their higher-ups about tweaking the terms and raising the bonus. Most rookies would probably be blown away by offers like these. Then Cole noticed one guy hadn't left. Maybe he had something else to say. His name was Yusuf, a recruiter for Team PER. He figured they might actually accept Cole's conditions. Yusuf handed over his card. Weird. Cole had never heard of them. If they were in Division 1 or even Division 2, he definitely would have. So they were a Division 3 team, and from the looks of it, not a great one. Their budget was tight, but Cole would have complete control over his team. Most of their current roster had contracts expiring next season and weren't sure if they'd re-sign. So, if the timing lined up, they could factor Cole's input into their recruiting decisions. All right, no fat paycheck, but total freedom to build his squad. Cole had questions. Did that mean his whole team would be made up of rookies? Yusuf suggested he meet with their director to go over the details. Seemed like the guy was willing to do whatever it took to sign him. He told Cole to think it over and consider meeting with the director. So, what were the options? Cole could go with one of the top-tier Division 3 teams, take a massive signing bonus and pick one or two teammates. Or he could join PER, not a great team, but one where he'd call the shots. Either way, it was all up to him. Derek was dying to know which way he'd go. He'd been waiting for Cole, didn't care about recruiter offers. He was sticking with Seoul Academy, so he just decided to wait for Cole outside. He wanted to hear the details. Cole had been promised 300 million won and a solid salary. Pretty much all the recruiters were offering the same thing. Derek's jaw dropped. Guess he wasn't making that kind of money at his academy, which was weird. It was a prestigious school, after all. Their training was on par with the best. Still, Derek had no clue which team Cole was leaning toward. Cole wasn't sure himself. Derek didn't get what there was to think about. He said Cole should accept without hesitation. That's when Cole explained he wanted to pick his own teammates. His standards were too high. Derek agreed Cole was good, but come on, they were rookies. It was way too soon to be making demands. Maybe, but his expectations were only too high for where he was right now. If he proved his worth, showed them he was exactly what they needed, they wouldn't be able to say no. He agreed with Derek, but that didn't mean he'd accept an offer without adding his own terms. If his rep wasn't big enough yet, he just needed to level up and make a name for himself. Recruiters had hit up Freddie, too. They'd made him an offer he probably wouldn't get anywhere else. But he nervously said he was staying with Seoul Academy. They even offered to up his signing bonus if he broke his current contract. Then Emily texted. She knew talking to recruiters was pointless. Better to not even start. Freddie was curious where Cole was heading. Their guy was literally the top sniper in the Korean Hunter League. That last match had been intense, but he still hadn't missed a single shot. Soon, Cole would be joining a team, and he and Freddie would meet again in the Division 3 arena. Or maybe not just there. That's when the real fun would begin. Freddie couldn't wait. Derek didn't get why Cole was going to a workshop. Nothing of his was broken. They were about to compete in an official Hunter League match. Obviously, he needed to gear up. Derek figured air step and air anchor would be enough. Guess he'd never seen how the pros fought. The right equipment could completely change the game. There were tons of different mana-powered gadgets in all shapes and sizes. A girl at the workshop greeted them. She could tell it was their first time here. She assumed they needed something fixed, maybe a gadget or a weapon repair. Before they could even say anything, she offered to show them some mana devices. Walking inside, Derek was floored. This place was a hunter's paradise. The girl said she'd explain how to pick the right mana device. That'd be real useful. Cole said some idiot had tagged along with him and clearly had no clue this kind of gear even existed. Right now, there's a crazy variety of inventions like air anchor and air step out there. Mana devices are generally split into 4 categories: offense, defense, and mobility. The 4th category doesn't really exist. It's just for stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else. Those can have all kinds of functions, since they're usually custom-made. Derek figured they came for something like that, but obviously that kind of gear is hard to get, so they should pick something simpler. Most custom gear is ordered for strategy during matches or fighting specific opponents. The girl showed them a basic device, a stone that forms a mana shield around its user. It's easy to use. Kinda weird Derek's never seen anyone actually use one before. Good catch. The thing is, if the shield breaks, it takes time to recharge. That's why people usually only use it in emergencies. It's mostly long-range fighters who rely on it to escape attacks during matches. When choosing gear, players always focus on a specific goal or strategy. The right equipment can seriously boost your performance in the arena. Cole tested a mana blaster and asked Derek what kind of player he thought it'd be good for. Looks like it needs to be attached to something. Would be sick if long-ranged fighters could use it. Ridiculous. At least with Cole's pistols, that definitely wouldn't work, and bullets are way too small to attach anything to. Wait, hold up. Yeah, bullets won't cut it, but Cole shoots ether and that can take any shape. Derek showed him a teleportation device called Air Dash. Looked perfect for long-range players. It'd help them keep their distance. Cole grabbed the device and, in a flash, had his gun to Derek's head. Solid choice. This thing lets you switch to close combat in an instant. Derek suggested taking everything, but he forgot mana isn't unlimited. Plus, there's a limit on how many devices you can carry. 1 air dash was enough for Cole. Right now, sorting out Derek's gear was more important. Dude had no clue what to pick. Too many options. He didn't use ranged weapons, so the mana shield was useless. Mana blaster probably wouldn't help either. An air dash seemed way too tricky to use. Then Cole pulled something else off the shelf. Derek thought he was joking. Everyone gathered at the stadium again. Linda announced the finals were in 6 days. Now it was time to reveal the team rosters and show the arena map. The final match would be set in a dense forest surrounded by massive mountains. They'd be fighting on the battlefield of the gods. This was gonna be fun. A world modeled after the tower. Cole had played on this map before, so he knew the terrain and what to expect. Based on past matches, the judges split the players into 2 teams. Blue team, Emily, Sean, and Dustin. Red team, Cole, Freddie, Derek, and Liam. Since the teams were announced early, the judges hoped to see some solid teamwork. A fully coordinated team in just 1 week. Michael said this match was going to be something special, because an OG hunter, the current chairman of the Hunter Association, would be joining in. Adam Steinberg. He'd be playing the role of a neutral monster. He had high expectations for the players, so he decided to jump in and share some of his wisdom. Adam told them to enjoy the finals. He'd see them in a week. Time for new stars to take the stage. After filming, Cole caught up with the chairman. He handed back a business card saying he didn't need it. Recruiter Yusuf had suggested meeting the team's owner. Team Par had been stuck at the bottom of Division 3 for years. Honestly, Cole had never even heard of them. But after meeting the recruiters, he remembered something from his past life. Turns out the owner of the team was none other than Adam. Back then, that news had been a total bombshell. The chairman locked eyes with Cole, dead serious. The media knew a different story. Officially, the team had a fake owner. So how the hell did Cole figure it out? Nothing gets past him. Bold claim. Cole had a talent for seeing right through people. He knew everything about Adam, all his dirty little secrets. So what was the chairman gonna do now? Adam didn't expect the kid to have a skill like that. Clearly, there was no point in hiding the truth anymore. So he introduced himself, Adam Steinberg, owner of Team PER and chairman of the Hunter Association. He thought all his and Yusuf's efforts had gone to waste, but Cole had apparently changed his mind. Gotcha. Cole was down to join the team, but on one condition: Adam had to hand over Par and let him run it. Later, the chairman told Yusuf everything. Things were definitely getting interesting. But to be real, the guy was worried Cole would just cause problems. Not sure they even needed him that bad. Adam never would have guessed the kid would demand a stake in the team just to join. Okay, sure, Cole was Korea's #1 sniper, so a little ego was expected, but this was pushing it. Yeah, he crushed the entrance trials, but calling him a pro? That's a stretch. Cole was confident they'd win the finals. Actually, more than that, he said he'd take down not just the players, but Adam too. Yusuf was floored by that level of arrogance. Obviously, the chairman wasn't going to go all out. But if Cole really did manage to beat him, then maybe his demands weren't so ridiculous after all. Yusuf seriously doubted that was even possible. But that wasn't the funniest part. Cole had something to say when Adam agreed to the bet. If he won, it wouldn't be the chairman hiring Cole, it'd be Cole hiring him. Yusuf was stunned. Adam thought it was hilarious. Yeah, if that actually happened, the kid wouldn't be wrong. But Adam wasn't about to go down easy. He was curious to see what tricks Cole had up his sleeve. Meanwhile, Cole gathered the team. The guys had no problem making him captain. He expected Freddie to step up, though. What's with that burning stare? The way Freddie was watching him was starting to get on his nerves. Cole suggested they start by discussing strategy. Everyone agreed he and Freddie were the strongest on the team. So that was the foundation of their plan. Like their opponents to win on this battlefield of the gods, they needed to power up first, then focus on team fights. That's what they'd build their strategy around. But now there was a new variable, the chairman himself. Some of them, including Cole, would need to take a slightly different approach. At first, everyone except Cole, Freddie, and Derek would farm items and hunt monsters to power up. Meanwhile, the three of them would head straight for the neutral monster's territory as soon as the game started. First priority, finding Chairman Adam. Yeah, Cole planned to take him down. The guys were stunned. Liam said he'd lost his damn mind. How were the three of them supposed to beat the chairman? Sure, Adam promised not to go all out, but still. Liam remembered how Cole had killed it in elimination and handled the survival game like a pro. But did he really think he was Korea's best hunter now? Liam doubted he had the guts to pull it off. Seemed like Cole had made plenty of enemies during elimination, but there was no time to dwell on that. They had to move forward. Then Freddie spoke up. Everyone knew how strong the chairman was, Cole included. Obviously, Cole had thought this through. Freddie had no doubt he already had a plan. This guy looked like he wanted to kill Cole half the time, and now he was suddenly defending him? Weird. Of course, Cole wasn't just going to charge in blindly. His plan might sound crazy, but he asked them to hear him out. The judges gathered to give the audience a quick refresher on the finals rules. A standard Hunter League match had 2 teams of 7 players. After that, the map dictated how the game played out. Each game was split into phases. The first was the farming phase. Players gathered items and hunted monsters. Then came the mission phase, where hunters tried to capture the neutral monster or take control of its territory. And finally, the team fight phase. Pretty self-explanatory. 7v7 battle time. Missions changed depending on the map, making it nearly impossible to predict what would happen. But this final was going to be truly special since Adam Steinberg was joining the game. So the players knew their objectives. But what was the chairman's role in all this? This time he'd be playing the neutral monster. Basically, he'd act just like the regular monsters. But let's not forget, Adam was a legit pro and a serious threat to the competitors. Which was why the judges had placed some restrictions on him. All his stats would be nerfed by 2 levels. That way, his advantage wouldn't be as overwhelming, since even small differences mattered at this level. Plus, it'd be 14 players versus 1 chairman. Now that was something worth watching. Everyone was hyped for the finals, Linda included. No doubt this was going to be a hell of a match. Michael had been backing Cole every step of the way. Dude was basically his #1 fan at this point. Linda wasn't going to argue with him this time, but Michael had a feeling someone else was going to take the win. He asked what she thought about Adam deciding to claim neutral territory. Linda figured he wanted to face each player one-on-one and decide for himself who deserved to win. Exactly. And if that was the case, then Cole wouldn't get to show off his usual tricks. His strengths were mobility and precision, but against the chairman, those wouldn't help much. Adam was a close-range fighter with heavy attacks and insane tracking skills. Long-range fighters had no shot against him, but Linda reminded everyone Adam would be nerfed. Michael said it wasn't about strength or limits. The chairman wasn't going to go easy on them. And Bill thought nothing was impossible in the Hunter League. You never knew what could happen. He mostly agreed with Michael, but still thought it was too early to call. After all, the finals map was Battlefield of the Gods. Just a few seconds left before the finals kick off. The comments are flooding in. The chairman's about to show off his skills live for the first time. Good thing the arena is exactly how Cole remembers it. Now he's sure they can stick to the plan. Final rules are standard. The game goes until one team is completely wiped out. Back in the day, dungeons, also known as towers, used to pop up all over the world randomly and unpredictably. This led to conflicts between hunters, but they eventually came up with a somewhat peaceful solution. Towers held insanely powerful artifacts, and of course, no one wanted to share. To get their hands on the treasure, hunters had to fight not just the monsters, but each other too. That's how the Hunter League was born. That's why a lot of the in-game arenas are copies of real-life towers. Makes sense that first-gen hunters have the advantage. They know the arenas way better than the rookies. All the contestants have spawned on the map. Cole's team agreed to stick to the plan. Freddie and Derek are with him. No turning back now. Team B, led by Emily, is clearing the area. Looks like they're planning to level up by hunting monsters. Their next move will probably be taking on the chairman. It's a pretty standard and effective strategy, given the circumstances. Even with all his stats nerfed by 2, the chairman still outclasses the rookies. Team A seems to be taking a different approach. Only 4 of them are hunting monsters. Meanwhile, Cole, Freddie, and Derek are doing their own thing. They're heading straight for the chairman. Linda says these guys are doomed. At the end of the day, they're way weaker than Adam, and there's only 3 of them. Michael agrees, but he says they should wait and see what they've got planned. The chairman is holding his ground. Someone's already rushing toward him. He's curious about what these guys are plotting. Maybe they think he won't notice them. For now, they're hiding. Then, suddenly, bullets start flying at Adam, like that's gonna work on him. He asks if that's really all Cole's got. While Adam's distracted, Derek and Freddie go in for a sneak attack from behind. But they're too slow, and the chairman blocks everything. He sees some potential in Cole. But if this is all they've got, he's beyond disappointed. He expected Cole to at least pull something surprising. All Adam sees are some weak sword swings. Above him, a massive figure looms. Battlefield of the Gods. This place used to be home to an entire civilization of giants. But for some unknown reason, they all turned to stone. And here's the interesting part. Turning to stone didn't kill them. Cole had spent a lot of time studying this place since the Hunter League finals are usually held in this arena, and one day he figured out how to wake a giant up. The plan is to bring the statue back to life. Freddie wonders if there's an artifact hidden here, like in the survival game. Cole can feel something, cracks. If they can break the stone in just the right spots, it'll shatter, and the giant trapped inside will wake up and break free. Derek's not sure. This could all just be guesswork. But Freddie's convinced our boy has some kind of special skill. Okay, let's say they free the giants, but will they actually help? The answer is no. They've been locked away for too long. They've probably lost their minds completely and will attack anything that moves. Derek's not sold on the plan. He gets the idea, but what if the giants see Adam as one of their own and don't attack him? Well, if Cole's theory is right, that shouldn't happen. But yeah, the guys could be in danger too. That's why they brought mana devices. Now Derek gets it. This might actually work. Oh, so that's how it is. Cole never planned to fight. He just pulled off a diversion. His real target was the statues. But is that even possible? He somehow knew they'd wake up. Or maybe this was all part of the plan from the start, and Cole awakened them himself. But how? The giants started attacking Adam. The chairman can handle it. He's more concerned about something else. Those 3 vanished without a trace. Adam figured it out. They're using invisibility cloaks. Pretty handy. But not perfect, and honestly, kind of a hassle since you can't stay hidden forever. That's why most hunters don't bother with them. The chairman thought they weren't even planning to fight him, but then Cole fired a shot. And yeah, he actually managed to put Adam in a tough spot. It's been a while since the chairman was pushed like this. Impressive. He gave Cole props for a solid move, but he better not think he's already won. Now they're on even ground. Cole needs to show what he's really capable of. The stadium is in shock. The judges had no clue why he kept shooting at the statues. Turns out he knew how to wake them up. The chairman dodged all their attacks, but the bullets he avoided ended up hitting the giants. His situation is looking worse. Cole only pretended to shoot at Adam. He was actually aiming at the cracks in the statues. Then he hid under his invisibility cloak so the rampaging giant would turn its attention to the chairman. Michael can't believe it. Cole actually pulled it off. Beating a first-gen hunter isn't easy. Looks like our boy's gonna have to put in even more work to take him down. Cole tried to shoot the giant, but Adam deflected the bullet. He's not falling for the same trick twice. The chairman waits to see what Cole will do next. The all-seeing eye highlighted the weak points on his shield. So Cole fired again, even though it won't work this time. And that's the whole point. The bullets collided mid-air. Ricochet. They bounced off each other, landing right on the giant. Even for a first-gen hunter, handling 2 giants is no joke. But Adam looks like he's ready to go all in. Cole reached out to Derek and Freddy. The guys are hiding in the bushes near some monsters. Liam and the others are on their way. They've got a special plan. Liam and his teammates have taken out a ton of monsters. He doesn't know exactly what Cole wants from them, but he's the only one in their squad that Cole fully trusts. Before the finals, Cole gave them clear instructions. First, they needed to kill monsters carefully with 0 casualties and gather ascension items. Second, they had to avoid the blue team at all costs. And third, no fighting whatsoever. Even if they ran into opponents head-on, Cole even mapped out an escape plan for them. Emily and her team have arrived. They're looking for enemies. Everything's happening just like Cole predicted. Emily swears she's not losing this time. Liam called his teammates and they started running. Now that Team B is chasing them, they need to keep a certain distance. Liam's not sure they can pull it off, but they can't let Cole down. He told the others to head straight to the designated spot. And when Emily's team caught up, they realized this was the neutral monster zone. She screamed in terror when the giant let out a roar. Liam has no clue what's even happening. Cole said he was going to fight the chairman first. Now everything's going crazy. He told Liam to stall for time. The guy agreed, but not for long. Cole only needs 3 minutes. Liam will see for himself soon enough, but for now he'll just throw some rocks. Cole told Freddy and Derek they had to move now before they got spotted. On his signal, time to take Emily's team out of the game. Derek and Freddy dropped their cloaks and ambushed Team B 1 down. Emily told the others to avoid the giants and watch out for flying rocks. The fight's just getting started. They need to focus on the red team. Meanwhile, Emily created a healing sphere. They messed with the wrong one. While she wasn't looking, Cole fired. But Emily's no rookie. Her protective ring deflected the bullet. Did Cole seriously think she wouldn't be prepared? Looks like he underestimated her. All right then, plan B. Cole pulled out a mana detonator. First he detached a piece, then came the ether. Cole used it to reshape the detonator. Now the gun is way heavier. But the shot? Insanely powerful. Another one down. Even Emily's shield couldn't save her. Liam saw it from afar. Damn, that was sick. Cole can't believe it actually worked. Thanks to the protective sanctuary, Emily's wounds are healing fast. But she's still at serious risk of getting eliminated. In the Hunter League, there are 2 ways to ascend. The first is pretty straightforward. Just kill monsters that spawn in the dungeon. But there's another option. Take out your opponents. Emily's out. Looks like her team is about to drop too. Oh, and Adam? Seems like he's done as well. That was incredible. It's been a long time since he's fought at full power. And now he wants to pick up where they left off. He's really curious to hear what Cole has to say. Cole doesn't think there's anything to talk about. The chairman told him not to hide from him. For what it's worth, Adam's genuinely impressed with Cole's strategy. The current generation only relies on brute force. But back in the day, hunters also had to defend towers, so strategy was a necessity. A well-thought-out plan was the key to success. And at that moment, Adam hurled his axe at Cole. Crazy, he pinpointed his location just from his voice. Cole escaped with an air anchor. That fight with the giants must have worn him down. Now the guys might actually take the chairman down. But when Derek lunged at him, Adam took him out with a single swing of his axe, while dodging bullets at the same time. Well, no surprise that an elite hunter is stronger than 3rd division players. At least they gave it everything they had. Liam was eliminated too. Looks like only Cole and Freddy are left. Adam thought our boy would be shocked, but nope. The chairman's skills are exactly what Cole expected. The man hopes Cole's got a plan for this. Cole shouted, and Freddy hurled daggers at the chairman. But it was a useless attempt. Adam jumped up and ran him through with a spear. And just like that, only Cole remains. The chairman isn't just a melee fighter, he's a tank. That's every ranged fighter's worst nightmare. Cole is in a seriously bad spot right now. Adam lunged at him, saying victory would be his, ready to kill. But the hero isn't so sure. He pulled out the mana detonator. A massive explosion went off, making the entire stadium and the judges hold their breath. Cole and Adam are both down, completely drained, so our hero actually pulled it off. He used the mana detonator to force a draw. Now that's who the real monster in this game was. Cole sighed in relief and stepped onto the stage. But honestly, he's completely disappointed. If he had dodged the chairman's spear and thrown the detonator instead, he could have won. Derek threw an arm around him, telling him to lighten up. A win's a win, right? But what's there to celebrate? Cole only tied. Freddie was surprised Cole didn't know. And when asked, he just said it didn't matter. The winners, including Adam, stepped onto the stage. The chairman gave Cole a weird, intense look. The judges started their speech. Every year, around 100,000 people awaken worldwide, and at some point, every single one of them dreams of becoming a hunter. But it's not that simple. A true hunter needs courage, wisdom, strength, and, of course, a bit of luck. In short, not everyone is cut out to be a real hunter. But today, one of the contestants proved that he is worthy of that title. And the winner of Hunters, the next generation, is Cole Phillips. He was the one who showed the best performance. Weird. In his past life, he held trophies like this more times than he could count. But damn, for the first time in ages, he's actually happy. And after the award ceremony, his mom, who was totally against him becoming a hunter, suddenly changed her mind. His whole family watched the show, and they're over the moon. His dad was the most stressed out, even if he won't admit it. Back then, Cole had to play for lower league teams, and obviously the conditions there weren't great. So his parents were always worried. But this time, things will be completely different. Just one last thing to take care of. He needs to settle the team situation. So Cole went to see Chairman Adam. The man asked what brought him here. Damn old man. Cole won fair and square, so he came to collect his team. But Adam doesn't think that's entirely fair. He says Cole only won because of the giant attack. And the duel ended in a draw. So Cole just shrugged and said he'd be on his way then. Adam grabbed his arm, stopping him, saying he was just messing with him. No need to be so tense. They're partners now. So the chairman is actually handing PER over to Cole. He's seriously impressed by the kid's skills. Our hero reached out his hand. He's looking forward to working together. The chairman shook it, saying the feeling's mutual. Mora's, a world-famous weapons manufacturer that not only makes gear for hunters, but also does full-scale evaluations. Today, Cole came to cash in his prize and place an order. Derek's here too, since he'll be competing in the 3rd division soon. Might as well get himself a weapon. And for some reason, Michael is tagging along. Derek asked the guy about the difference between custom-made weapons and standard ones. Michael told him to just call him by his name. They're not on a show anymore. And yeah, the difference is huge. Custom gear is made for a specific person, tailored to their unique fighting style. They walked into the Moras workshop, where a consultant already informed of their visit greeted them. The section they need is B3. Moras is split into 4 departments in total. Each one is ranked alphabetically from A to D, and the quality of weapons made in each section matches its letter ranking. Section B isn't too bad. Derek let out a whistle. He's never had the chance to visit this place before. It's insane. He asked how much Moras weapons cost. Bet custom gear is way pricier than the standard stuff. Michael told him they'd get to that later, but for now he'd explain the important details. Before ordering a weapon, you first have to pick one of the base models available. For example, he showed one for his 7-branched sword. Every weapon starts with a standard design. Then, it gets modified and customized to match the user's abilities and fighting style. When Michael ordered his weapon, he made a rough sketch of what he wanted. He drew a regular sword with 6 branches, a blade with 7 curved extensions designed to widen the wound when pulled out of an enemy, increasing the damage dealt. And the Moras workshop made that badass sword from just a rough drawing. Michael's sketch was only meant to give a general idea of the weapon. The real job of the smiths is to turn a client's vision into a fully functional weapon, but it's important to know what type of weapon suits you and how you're planning to use it. Derek thought about that. Cole, though, is going with the same gear he used in his past life. But what Derek will come up with? That's the real question. He looked through everything and reached for a rapier, a weapon for piercing attacks. The guy wants to enhance his speed with mana, and he also wants the rapier to glow when the speed-boosting technique is activated. Michael chuckled and said style matters too. Derek is thinking like a pro-level player. Then he asked if Cole had already decided on his weapon. Among Korean hunters, there's no one who uses firearms, so the model he needs isn't even available here. But now he can finally use magical weapon transmutation again. He grabbed some ordinary-looking chunk and asked if he could take it. Michael nodded, telling him to make full use of his privilege. And in just a few moments, that unimpressive block turned into a sleek, high-grade firearm. The consultant was stunned. He did it so easily. People always get amazed by Cole's abilities, but he still isn't used to those reactions. Every country that hosts Hunter League matches has a Morris branch. And obviously that means competition is inevitable. The divisions are constantly fighting for dominance. And they only care about two things: the quality of their weapons and the status of their clients. Right now, the Korean branch of Morris doesn't have the best reputation. Korean athletes' performances on the world stage? A total disaster. The players aren't promoting their gear. Made in Korea, they're just ruining Morris's image. But Cole could help restore the Korean branch's good name. Not only did he win the show, but he also demonstrated the possibility of creating completely new weapons. Chloe Parker, the head of the Seoul branch of Morris, won't let this opportunity slip. She thanked Cole for his time and suggested getting straight to business. First, Chloe asked if he was good with B-rank gear. Well, that's the prize the show organizers prepared, so it's not like he really has a choice. Chloe said that if all he needed to create a weapon was a mana ingot, then they could provide him with something truly special. She pulled out a case and opened it. Chloe had a proposition. They could make a deal for a permanent lease. Cole would be free to use a mana ingot provided by their branch to craft his own weapon. And in return, she asks for cooperation and occasional assistance in developing new gear using his ability. A pretty simple and solid offer. Sounds great and all. But what's Morris gonna do when everyone finds out Cole makes his own weapons? He figured out her plan. If the hero uses the mana ingot they provided to craft his weapon, then they'll convince the public that the branch's masters have learned to process top-tier mana ingots. After that, Chloe will ask him to make more gear, and the branch will end up with a whole collection of high-class weapons. Chloe completely forgot to mention that they'd have to ask Cole to sign an NDA. In that case, Cole might as well just show off his skills at the main branch right away. Chloe got pissed and asked what he was after. Much better, the hero answered. Sponsorship. The woman was surprised. She thought giving Cole free weapons was more than enough, but they could make an exception for him. The branch will provide the necessary financial support. However, Cole isn't asking for himself. The help is for Per, the team he's planning to join, so he's demanding they sponsor a Division III team that's been flopping every season. Chloe asked why Per. If he looked at another team, they'd be happy to fund them. But Cole said he already signed a contract with them. Chloe froze. She said they'd rather sponsor someone who would promote their brand and boost the company's image, and PR won't do that. Cole gets it, but he thinks the deal is fair enough. After all, he'll be helping craft weapons exclusively for Morris's Korean branch. All right then, their representative will get in touch with PER's management soon. That's when they'll go over all the details. Chloe and Cole shook hands. The hero arrived at the stadium. Yeah, this was about the crowd he expected at a Division III league match. PR versus ESP, the bottom-ranked team against the 9th place, definitely doable. Yeah, things have been rough for the PR guys lately, but they still have a chance to bounce back. This time, the team can totally take their opponents. Matches for Division II and III players take place in virtual reality. Meanwhile, top league competitions are held in real dungeon zones. That's why the risk of getting injured on the field goes way up. But Division II and III hunters don't have anything to worry about, so what are they so scared of? Cole's in shock. This isn't even a fight. He came here hoping to spot some hidden talent in this team. But Per is losing the battle and now has to retreat. The guys are completely cornered. What a tragic outcome. At this rate, PR will finish the season without a single win. Cole is in shock. They haven't won even once. Did he mess up? Maybe he really should have picked another team. It would have been way smarter to join a team with solid prospects and talented players. That way, in the future, it'd be easier for him to move up to a Division I team. No way. Cole's not backing down. He'll figure something out. First, he needs to get rid of the current players. He's gonna boot out as many as he can. The hero just hopes they have at least one decent hunter. He was even more shocked to find out that Per's residence was in an apartment building. Though, thinking about it, his first team didn't have any sponsors either, so they lived in a regular house too. All right, maybe it's not as bad as it looks. Stepping inside, Cole heard yelling. The guys were arguing over their loss. They were blaming each other for being cowards while Yusuf tried to calm them down. The coach was asking them to keep a cool head and talk it out. No wonder the team's atmosphere is so tense. They've been playing like crap. Yusuf saw Cole and introduced him to the guys as the new team member, the winner of the show. The hero said he saw their game. Gotta say, he was just blown away by how utterly useless they were on the field. One of the guys got pissed, asking who the hell Cole thought he was and what gave him the right to trash-talk pro players. Since the hero hurt his delicate feelings, Cole suggested a duel. If he loses, he'll leave the team, but if he wins, this guy has to go. Cole just walked in and already stirred things up, but only 3 took the bait. The rest didn't have the guts. Everyone gathered in the battle room. Well, looks like they're on the same page. The hero just hopes they won't turn off the sensors and claim they'll beat him up. Cole suggested cranking them up to the max. That guy, Scott, told the hero not to worry and to get ready, or he's done for. This is the same Scott who rushed in alone and died in the match. His skill is Destructive Rush, which lets him charge forward, sending out a destructive wave. Scott's stats are lower than those who were on the show. He's clearly been slacking off in training. His skill is solid. He just doesn't know how to use it. It's actually funny to think these guys are pros. So Cole and the 3 guys entered the virtual battlefield. Just as the hero expected, Scott charged in right away. But weirdly enough, the guy ran right past him. Then the ground beneath started to break apart. The wave's radius is bigger than Cole thought. The skill's actually good. The hero used air step to escape. That way, Scott would think Cole was playing right into his hands, and he'd make a dash straight at him, totally convinced of his victory. Everything went according to plan. Scott fell into the trap. The other 2 guys showed up too late. Scott was already tied up. Who's next? Cole warns them it's gonna hurt. Well, the guys obviously lost. The hero reminded them about the deal. Losers leave the team. Cole told them to get lost. 2 guys stormed off cursing, but Scott just stood there. Cole reminded him, in case he didn't hear, time to go, but the guy bit his lip and apologized. Oh? Cole didn't catch that. Scott apologized again, saying it was his fault. He fully realized his mistakes and asked not to be kicked out. Now that's some grit. Scott couldn't even beat a rookie who just became a hunter. Why should Cole keep him? The guy said he's got a decent skill. Sure, the hero beat him. But that's his biggest strength. Scott asked if that wasn't enough. He's got a point. The skill really is strong. But so what? The guy doesn't even know how to use it, and honestly, he wouldn't even listen to Cole. Scott promised he'd follow orders, just let him stay. Cole demanded that he listen to him and only him. Scott confidently said he'd handle it. The hero wasn't sure if this was the right call. But to be honest, the whole team is garbage, and the budget for buying players is tiny. So maybe he should turn Scott into an example for the others. Out of 7, Cole kicked out 2. Now he needs to find replacements. Emily's got insane potential. He'd love to recruit her. But when the hero made her an offer, she said she wouldn't go even if the contract was perfect. That loss still stings. She told him to put himself in her shoes. Then suddenly Cole got a new message. And it was from Freddie himself. Emily told him the hero was recruiting players. Freddie, the star player of the Private Soul Academy's first team. Cole thought he was glued there for life. Well, it's hard not to be shocked by what the hero pulled off. Freddie's interested in joining, and he promised to talk to the academy. That's huge. Good gameplay pays off. If Cole signs him, that's a 3-pointer. Suddenly, the hero got another message. And it was from someone he never expected. Cole doesn't know what to do with all this. The most important thing in building a team is synergy, which this team doesn't have. The guys' stats barely hit the minimum, and their synergy is far from ideal. A girl named Stella has an ability called Positional Caution. This could work. Freddie is more than capable, just like the 2 who messaged Cole yesterday. At this rate, they'll steamroll through the 3rd division of the league. Adam was surprised that the hero actually thinks highly of the new team. Oh, come on. Cole says every one of them is an exceptional player, all thanks to the chairman. Adam apologized, saying he didn't have time to focus on the team. He noticed that our hero was busy recruiting. The chairman never would have thought Cole would land a sponsor like Soul's Morass Workshop. The hero has to do everything he can to save the team. That's when Adam asked what kind of team he wants. Right now, Cole only has 2 ideas. The first is a solo playstyle, just like the chairman might have guessed. That's way too predictable. Adam reminded him that a team with only one strategy is doomed to fail in the league. That's why Cole has a second idea, but it's still in development. However, Adam can call it the saboteur strategy. The chairman doesn't know what that means, but he'll trust the hero. Mr. Steinberg suggested they get straight to business. He handed over a contract confirming that all rights to the team would be transferred to Cole. The hero looked it over. Everything seemed fine, so he was ready to move on with business. But then Adam suddenly mentioned that the last match of the season was over, and tomorrow is the press conference for the third division. Cole is now the team's executive director, so he has to attend. Of course, the hero will be there. He was planning to do something anyway. The studio was packed with team heads. Boring as hell, not a single question after the presentations. Cole introduced himself as the new executive president of PER, as well as a new player. LTD is in first place. They earned their reputation through insane teamwork and domination in the division. However, there are rumors that many of their players will move up to the second division next season. The LTD director responded that even if some leave, they'll fill the gaps with equally strong players. They also wanted to introduce a couple of hunters who could become rising stars. Gotta remember who he's talking about. That coach looks way too familiar to Cole. Wait a minute, that's Director Lee. Our hero had beef with him in his past life. He was the director and coach of LTD in the first division, and now he's coaching in the third? Brandon Lee. He always looked like a jackass even back then. There was also talk about a new hunter from LHR. The host asked if he'd be joining the third division. The coach nervously replied that they couldn't give a definite answer yet. They're doing their best to push the process forward. So that's the team Freddie was supposed to join. And now for the most shocking news from PR. People heard that player Cole Phillips became the team's executive director. The hero confirmed it and introduced himself. This is an unprecedented case of such a young player. Joining a team as both a player and a director. Should people expect major changes? Cole answered, absolutely. The team finished the season without a single win, but big changes are coming. The host asked for at least a hint about what Per is working on. Well, first, there'll be some roster adjustments, and Cole will be playing and coaching at the same time. They're also changing strategies and introducing a new sponsor. A lot is happening. The host was ready to move on, but Cole had something else to say. He's been watching the division's matches closely, and honestly, there's not a single team that can hold up. The room went dead silent. Brandon was especially pissed. Cole told everyone to stay on their toes. Per is going to crush all of them, especially LTD. It would be pretty sad if the top team lost to the bottom of the rankings. All right, this should do it. Cole definitely stirred up some hype, and not just at the conference. The guys arrived at Per's headquarters. They haven't seen each other since the show. Derek was surprised. It's just a regular house. Cole said that's normal for small teams. Honestly, our hero was hoping Derek would reach out to him. But he never thought Sean would too. Not that there's any point arguing about it. Cole admitted the team is full of rookies, but it's worse than Freddie imagined. Sean cut straight to the point. The only reason he agreed was because the hero promised to boost his rank so he could switch teams in the future. Cole told him to chill. He wouldn't have invited them without a plan. Yeah, the team didn't win a single match last season. But that's not the real problem. With these guys, the roster is already halfway complete, so buckle up, we're taking off. The guys really hope they didn't come here for nothing and that Cole has some ace up his sleeve. Joseph Waltz, the manager of Team ESP, was deep in thought. It's not that his players lacked skill. It's just like they forgot how to win. Joseph was wondering how to fix that. Suddenly, a scrim request came in from PER. Scrims are training battles where the score is based on kills, not objectives. His colleagues were saying it's the end of the season and ESP's players should rest. Nothing bad would happen if they refused. But Joseph figured the only way to get back into a winning rhythm was to start winning again. So he called Coach Kim and told him to accept. He figured it would be interesting. ESP's players didn't understand why they were scrimming. There usually aren't any after the season ends. But they'd heard how the PER manager just debuted and already trashed the entire league. Said he'd overthrow LTD, but in reality, he won't even be able to beat them. The guys were ready to show Per what's up. Yusuf asked if Cole was really sure about this. He barely even knows everyone yet. And the new members haven't even had time to get used to each other. Cole said they don't even have enough players for a full 7v7 scrim. The hero told the coach to listen up. The team has zero hope if things stay the way they are. they'll just lose again and end up at the bottom of the rankings. Endless failures have made the team passive in-game. But if there's even the slightest chance to win, hope will fire them up, and Cole will give them that chance. Maybe it's his first match here, but just his presence is already changing the team. He'll show them they're not losers anymore. All right, the hero entered the waiting room and met ESP's manager and coach. Joseph saw the new president or manager of PER. He wasn't sure what to call him. Either way, he introduced himself. Joseph talked like he didn't care, but his eyes were full of sarcasm. It was obvious he underestimated Per, kinda rude. The match was about to start. Cole asked his guys if they were ready. He'd be giving out commands, and his teammates had to listen to him and only him. Even if Cole doubted they'd follow orders perfectly. They'd start with 5 original players and him, the new addition. The hero would prove they could win even with this lineup. Scott would be the vanguard, just like before, but he better not charge in until Cole gives the signal. If the hero doesn't say go, he stands his ground, even if a mana bomber comes sprinting at him. Stella would stick close to Cole. She had to do everything to keep up. Derek asked about himself. The hero told him to stay in the back and stop anyone who tries to get close. Derek thought Cole didn't want him to fight, but he'd see for himself soon enough. The match started. The map, Imperial Bridge. The fight would be in a narrow space, so there's no room for creativity. It's all about endurance. Whoever holds their formation wins. That's exactly why Joseph picked this map. For a team pulled off the streets, Per's formation looked solid. Joseph figured it was just for show since they hadn't even had time to practice since their last match. They could only maintain it because they were standing still. Or maybe it actually was solid. Then the manager and coach noticed Cole breaking formation. It looked like the hero, a long-range fighter, was wide open. Seems like he got distracted watching over his team. ESP couldn't miss this chance and went for the kill. But just as one of them was about to stab him with a spear, the hero dodged. So it wasn't a mistake. It was bait to lure ESP in. Joseph thought they were messing with him. Per actually had a strategy where a ranged player was the key. Cole started shooting and the enemy team took cover behind their shield. But they had no idea the hero was using mana explosives. Per instantly scored 7 points, 7 kills in 1 move. And just like that, the match was over. They won. Joseph was wondering why Cole exposed himself. It actually worked. The manager admitted that PR played incredibly. The guys couldn't believe it. It had been so long since their last win. They thought they'd get steamrolled. Cole was happy to hear that his team gained confidence and hope. But then Scott came up to him and asked how Cole led them to victory. What's the most important thing in formation battles? The guy knows. Holding your formation, obviously. Then Cole asked how he plans to break the other team's formation. Scott hesitated. Cole answered, "You either make them fall apart, or overpower them. Simple as that." It sounds so obvious when Cole says it, but for some reason, Scott never thought about it. What Cole did earlier, he made the enemies engage and then struck while they were repositioning. That's why he jumped out and exposed himself. Scott's probably surprised the answer is so simple. Freddie chimed in. He said the right answer is the one everyone agrees with when they hear it. What surprised him the most was the coordination. It was like the guys practiced before he joined, but they hadn't. It's just because Cole picked the simplest formation, so it's just part of his plan. Freddie suggested they keep using this strategy. With Derek and Sean, the team will be even stronger, so the 3rd division should be a cakewalk. That would be ideal, but even if it's just the 3rd division, it won't be easy. Cole replied that, unfortunately, they can't. Sure, ESP won a lot before, but now they're just a 9th-place team. The strategy works against low-ranked teams, but probably won't hold up against the higher-ranked ones. Not to mention, using the same strategy over and over will make it ineffective. Then Sean asked what they were going to do about it. He only joined because he trusted Cole. They'd better have a plan. That's true. Unlike the others, Sean only joined because Cole promised him that he'd be able to transfer to another team with a better contract or prospects later on. Cole said they still need some setups for matches. Sean said they barely have any players with strong skills. So what setups can they even use? And to that, Cole assured him that skills aren't everything they can use. He pulled out a mana bomb. They'll use this. The guys will remember Cole's words when their team becomes mana bombing experts. Cole wants Freddie to train using multiple swords at the same time. Freddie's shocked. Then Cole asked if he didn't like the training plan. Freddy said if he's controlling multiple swords at once, he won't be able to use them as precisely. He's right. To effectively pressure an enemy using telekinesis, multiple swords aren't ideal, because they split focus. But Cole knows that in a past life, Freddy could use at least 7 swords at once, and at a high fencing level, 3 at once. If Cole wants to level him up fast, he can't let him go unsupervised. It's not completely pointless, but if Freddy doesn't want to, they don't have to. The guy only joined because he respected Cole. That seems to have hit the mark. Freddy sighed. Either way, he knew it'd happen sooner or later. He asked how many swords they were talking about. Cole smiled and held up 7. That'll do. Next is Sean. Cole wants him to practice throwing things with accuracy. The more accurate, the better, but Sean doesn't quite get it. Using his gravity skill like that won't be powerful in attacks. He asked Cole to at least tell him what he's planning so he can decide if he even wants to bother. Fine, maybe Cole should tell him. The team's gonna stack bombs using Sean's skill. Mana bombs, specifically. That's Cole's plan. First, he'll plant bombs on Freddy's sword, then using Sean's ability. He'll drop bombs off the sword mid-flight. Sean and Freddy together will be the artillery. This is the new strategy Cole was talking about. It's their way to win. Cole calls it the grenadier tactic. In this strategy, Freddy will control multiple swords, each carrying parts of a mana bomb. Using Sean's gravity, the team will precisely drop the bombs on their opponents. However, they need one more piece of the puzzle for it all to work. Without knowing the enemy's positioning, they won't be able to deal significant damage. That's where Stella comes in with her ability to pinpoint the enemy's exact location. She'll need to use her skill to relay information to her teammates. Cole placed his hand on hers and said she's the key to making the strategy work. If she doesn't help, the others won't be able to use the bombs. Cole asked if he could count on her. She turned away and said fine. She also blushed. What is she thinking? Team PR was invited to a photo shoot for the season opener. Cole had already acted too bold and hostile at the conference, so he'll hold back now. Suddenly, he heard comments from another team's coach. The man said Cole needed age and experience, but he's just another kid. Team Per looks like a flimsy house of cards right now. The host thought Per might have something to say too. They didn't win a single match last season. So maybe they'll change tactics. Suddenly, Cole stepped in. He admitted he's pretty young, but he told Mr. Yu that if Per wins, the only thing the man will have left is his age. The host said intense competition between teams is what makes for great viewing. Mr. Yu's too chatty for someone on an 8th-place team, just barely above Per. Cole will show him what they're made of in the first match. Freddy asked if Cole was sure, but strategies aren't meant to be kept to themselves. Even if they show theirs, no one will be able to counter it. Freddy seems to think they can easily beat the 8th-place team no matter what. According to the plan, most of the challenges will fall on Cole. But that's not what the team needs right now. Freddy's the key to the strategy, and Cole asked him not to forget that. The guy promised to do his best. All right, time to start. The two teams gathered at the stadium. PR will show what they can do. The lower-ranked team picks the arena. Per's at the bottom of the list, so they get to choose. They picked the simplest arena, the city. Cole told Sean, Freddy, and Stella to stick to the strategy once they reached their positions. The rest should try to take out as many opponents as possible or focus on survival. Stella was on the 23rd floor of a high-rise on the eastern edge of the map. She waited in the leftmost office. She activated her skill and called out the coordinates of the enemy positions. On arenas like this, her ability shines the most. Cole sprinted to his new position. Sean and Freddy had already arrived. Now they'll start bombing the arena and blowing up buildings. Cole will shoot anyone who runs out. If someone slips away, the others will confront them head-on. Everyone's ready. One word from Cole and they'll drop the charge. Perfect. Cole also set up on a high-rise with a rifle. They're starting. Freddy's daggers flew, dropping pieces of mana bombs. Mr. Yu told his team to be extra cautious this match. Even though Cole's small fry, it's better to stay alert. Team leader Mark doubted they'd need a special tactic against a rookie team. They'll just do what they can. Once PR shows themselves, he'll use his destructive shift. Before they have time to react, Mark can't wait to take everyone out in one blow. But the daggers had already hit their ambush spot, and the ceiling began shaking. Mark told everyone to raise their shields overhead. Last time Cole brought down the building, Mark knew it'd be something like that again. It looks like our hero used ether rounds again. If so, Mark figured Cole had already burned through most of his mana. But then he saw 3 more daggers through the window. The team panicked. They were being attacked with telekinesis. Mark didn't expect Purr to start from a distance. He ordered the team to raise their swords and began deflecting Freddy's daggers himself. But it was useless. The mana bombs scattered through the building, causing a powerful explosion. Meanwhile, Cole aimed from afar at someone running out. Looks like he won't even have to go inside. The enemies realized they couldn't handle close combat against the swords, so they opted for ranged attacks. But Freddy's controlling the swords, so they won't stand a chance either. Game over. Purr scored 7 points and won the match. First Division, Team LTD. Manager Christopher didn't expect to see that in a third division match. Cole stirred up some serious trouble. Even Brandon admitted that kid's not just good at talking. Christopher remembered Cole was on their recruit list, but it looks like he's firmly planted with Team Purr. LTD offered him the best contract in the industry, but he didn't even consider it. Too late to cry about it now. Christopher suggested the second division recruitment team give him a call. Scott couldn't believe they did it. Cole told Stella that it's just one win, and they shouldn't celebrate too much. There's still an interview coming up. Freddy's probably getting the match MVP title, so they invited him to the studio to answer a few questions. Freddy thanked the host for having him. Before, Team Purr finished the season with 0 wins. The host asked how the team prepped for the match to turn things around. Freddy said he just did what the captain told him to do. He meant Cole. He just followed Cole's instructions. Their tactic made a lot of noise online. Many compared it to artillery bombardment. Freddy blurted out, "That's exactly how the captain described the tactic when explaining it." He said Cole's strategy worked perfectly, and he respected him a ton. Freddy spent the whole interview talking about our hero. Derek said it sounded like Cole was some kind of cult leader. Scott agreed. That'd be a fitting title for Mr. Phillips. Cole didn't get what was up with him. He even blushed. Cole asked them to just call him by his name like usual. Scott's older than him, so it's weird. Why the guy called him that? They're probably just too happy the losing streak's over. This team's only gonna get stronger. Purr's gonna become division champs. Derek was eating his ramen when he noticed Cole was heading out. Weird, it's a day off. The hero said he had a meeting and told Derek not to just sit around either. Even though it's a day off, the season's still on. Cole left. Derek finished his ramen, and now it's time for some shows. Meanwhile, our hero arrived at the Hunter League Stadium to meet Michael. The guy had 2 tickets. They were already letting people in so they could head inside. A huge crowd had gathered today. The guys took their seats. Michael figured Cole had been to matches before since he looked so at home here. Well, yeah, back in the day, our hero pretty much lived here. Cole said that even though he's in the 3rd division, he's still a pro player. Michael was happy to see him. It was the weekend, but he'd worried the hero might have other plans. Cole thanked him for the invite. Today's match was between Korea and Japan. Japan usually wins. The hero wasn't sure if it was worth showing up for this. Michael reminded him it's still his home country. Fair enough, but Japan usually dominates, even with Korea's top 1st division talent. Cole wasn't thrilled with Korea's situation, but reality is reality. Michael said Korean players weren't exactly lacking skills or stats. He wanted Cole to see the match because one day it would be him up on that stage. And when that day comes, Michael wanted the hero to remember him. He's friends with a Japanese national team player. And suggested they meet after the match. Seems like Michael's banking big on Cole. The hero better keep a close eye on what's about to happen. Unfortunately, Japan won with a huge lead. Now Michael was calling him to meet his friend. The guy was acting like he didn't care. But Cole was sure he was upset. They were standing in the hallway when they finally heard footsteps. It was a Japanese national team player, Takumi Minamino. Michael hugged his old friend. They hadn't seen each other in ages. Takumi thought Michael should have met with his own team's players. But Michael didn't even want to think about them. Said that generation was already a lost cause and he's betting on the next one. He introduced Cole to Takumi, the most famous and aggressive long-range fighter in Japan. Michael said our hero had just debuted in Korea and was a rising star he had big plans for. Michael had been talking Takumi's ear off about Cole, so he was curious to meet him. The Japanese player asked if he could test our hero. Michael suggested asking Cole first. The hero didn't remember anything about Takumi Minamino. Guess he wasn't from his generation's team. Either way, his stats must be high. Takumi's abilities included rapid fire, weak spot targeting, which deals double damage when hitting the same spot, and speed boost. Cole couldn't say no to a match with Japan's most famous long-range fighter, so he eagerly agreed. Takumi noted he must have guts. Cole assured him that wasn't all he had. The head of the Korean national team was in despair. He thought they'd close the power gap. The team's coach said the improvement was big and they were inches away from 3 kills. But the head was upset they'd given the coach their best, and that's all he'd managed to get out of it. If this keeps up, Korea will stop participating in the games. The head left. The coach was down. Then he remembered Christopher had been scouting the 2nd and 3rd divisions. He asked if Director Lee had found anyone in the non-qualifying LTD. He had, but they weren't LTD players, like Freddie, for example. If he could get Freddie and that kid with gravity control, they'd be aces for the team. Or maybe the next-gen star, Cole. Maybe that's exactly what the country needs right now, someone like our hero. Though honestly, what's Christopher even thinking? They're just a bunch of kids from the 3rd division. Meanwhile, Cole and Takumi were getting ready for their virtual battle. Michael figured Takumi's energy wasn't a good sign. He's still the same as when they played together on the national team. He's calling it a test, but he really just wants a fight. Michael told him to go easy on Cole. Takumi knew, after all, our hero's just a kid from the 3rd division. He promised he wouldn't go all out. Cole chuckled. Michael figured he and Takumi were 2 peas in a pod. Takumi was already on the battlefield. The map was Void Plaza. He wasn't sure why that arena got picked. It's a unique space with wormhole mechanics. Because of all the unpredictable factors, no one usually picks it in the league. Maybe Cole wanted to throw Takumi off with the unusual arena. It's a rare case of 2 long-range fighters facing off one-on-one. Usually they stay in the back line and deal damage to frontline troops. But funnily enough, Cole's never lost a duel to another long-range fighter. He'd memorized every wormhole on this map, where they are and where they lead. That means, as long as the hero knows where his opponent is, he can hit him from anywhere. Cole fired a shot that traveled through a wormhole Takumi had just used. Takumi noticed and instantly dodged with his speed boost. The bullet hit the wall nearby. If Takumi had been even a split second slower, Cole figured the shot's path shifted because of the wormhole's vibration. Takumi had no idea how the hero figured out where he was, but Cole shot knowing his exact position. Using a wormhole to land a hit, not bad for a kid from the 3rd division. He was intrigued and started firing with rapid fire and weak spot targeting. Takumi thought if he tore down all the walls, they'd end up face to face, and that'd be the end. The hero realized the guy was breaking walls from a spot that couldn't be hit through a wormhole. The stat gap between them was huge. Takumi was breaking walls, thinking he'd crush Cole with sheer stats. Michael watched the match without blinking. He didn't think our hero would land the first hit, but his focus was interrupted by the arrival of a guy. It was Elijah, a player from Korea's national team. They hadn't seen each other in a while. Michael expressed sympathy about today's match. Elijah was surprised to see Takumi from the Japanese team on screen. He asked who his opponent was. Michael said it was a rising star he had his eye on, and he was holding up better than expected. Elijah was shocked. He would have heard of our hero if Michael had been mentoring him. But he was even more stunned to hear the kid was a rookie who just debuted in the 3rd division. Either way, it looked intense. One-on-one with Takumi, the result seemed obvious. Fine. Elijah asked something else. Why hadn't Michael come to see them? Lots of people missed him. If he'd shown up before the match, it would have boosted the team's morale. Michael stayed silent, so Elijah stood in front of the screen. Michael snapped at him to move, saying this match was more important than Elijah. The guy was floored by the comment. He figured the fight with Takumi had been over ages ago, but he was stunned when he saw Cole standing over a defeated, exhausted Takumi on the screen. Before this, Takumi had broken all the walls, but our hero was still confident. The Japanese player decided this was his limit and fired. However, Cole dodged with ease. Takumi's ambush failed, but time was still on his side. He needed to destroy the nearest wormhole and launch his next attack. But before he could do anything, Cole started shooting. It was suppressive fire. The wormholes were changing the bullet paths. Takumi wouldn't have been able to dodge that, so he quickly put up a shield. But under that amount of pressure, it shattered into tiny pieces. And right then, the delayed attack hit him. That was the end of Takumi. In his past life, Cole was used to answering one question, the question of what it takes to be a good player. And the hero always answered, experience. To be more specific, experience in winning. Takumi was reviewing the match. Michael burst in, asking what had happened. He answered that Michael had unleashed a monster, that's what happened. So it turns out Cole really won because of experience, and it wasn't just luck. Takumi doesn't know when our hero, will step onto the world stage, but when he does, he'll have a fan base like Ethan's. Cole returned to his headquarters. Yesterday's match was interesting. Takumi, a long-range fighter with enough power to break walls. In any case, our hero had no doubts about his victory. Because in the past, when things weren't going well, he put extra focus on duels. His opponent looked pretty good, even despite losing. Derek called for Cole. He asked what Cole did yesterday that put him in the news. In the latest interview, Takumi Minamino had high hopes for the rising Korean star. More specifically, Cole Phillips, a player from the league's 3rd division. A member of the Japanese national team said that. To that, the hero replied that he went to the match yesterday. Michael invited him. Derek didn't understand since when they were buddies. Now they were sure Cole really fought Takumi yesterday and hoped he got an autograph. They were blown away when Cole said they had a duel and he won. Yeah, the reaction was pretty wild. Probably couldn't have been any different. On paper, Takumi is stronger than the hero, with better skills, but when it comes to experience, Cole's unmatched. He'd spent so much time in the game that it'd be weird if he didn't know every tiny detail of the maps. Though, if his trajectory calculations were even a little slower, the situation could have flipped. Suddenly, Freddy said he knew it from the start. They just needed to listen to Cole. The hero wasn't sure if Freddy's eyes always sparkled like that. Derek added that he should have been invited at least. He would have thrown a few punches and swung his sword. Cole told him to stop. That could have been the case if Derek was at his peak, but now he didn't stand a chance. So the hero's all-seeing eye improved, probably because he pushed it to the max in the duel with Takumi, identifying enemy abilities and analyzing trajectories. You couldn't ask for better abilities to train a team. It was time to get serious. Cole told Yusuf about his plans for ranked matches. The hero asked the coach's opinion on the current situation. They started the season with a win, so the team's morale was high, and they were motivated for more victories. Yusuf thinks they should just keep going. They don't have many strategies yet, but there's a guarantee for victory. No way. Cole strongly disagrees. That's not enough. What are the options if the grenadier strategy doesn't work? If the hero doesn't carry the team alone, it's a guaranteed loss. If the strategy fails, they're left with no options. So they either improve it or come up with a new one. Or overhaul the team's foundation. Right now, personal growth for every team member is needed. So they'll start with ranked games. Cole gathered Derek, Freddy, and Stella. They already heard everything from the coach. But Derek thinks they should focus on team play instead of ranked games. The hero says individual growth should come before team growth. Otherwise, there's no point in fighting as a team. Everyone will play ranked games, then review them with the coach. Later, Cole came to watch, but didn't expect such a crowd. Maybe a famous player showed up. Ben Stone was fighting, a melee tank who would later be known as the Knight. And Caitlin Beatles, a serial demolitionist. Ben rushed in with acceleration, but Caitlin dodged with her heavy firepower. She blew up a mana bomber with her ability, turning it into a catalyst for an explosion. Looks like Ben tried to close the distance to avoid the mana bomber barrage. Caitlin was in a dangerous position, but she blasted Ben again and won the fight. She dominated the match, even though the guy had a higher rank, but Cole wouldn't say that. If Ben had dealt with the mana bombers when he charged forward, or found another chance to get close to Caitlin, he would have won. Ranked games are where class situations and player choices matter most. For those not paying attention, it looked like Caitlin dominated the whole match. But in reality, she was walking a fine line. She came out and asked the hero about his division, team, and rating. Caitlin must have heard his commentary. Cole answered, 3rd Division, Team PER, rating 1000. She smirked and walked off, saying she almost got mad at the newbie, if only she knew he used to be number 1. Freddy's match was soon, so Cole should get going. But he didn't understand why Caitlin was following him. A lot of hunters have screws loose, but she seems to have some special ones. Stella was already in a match. As Cole thought, duels were tough for her. In the Hunter Union's training center, players from all divisions compete. And she's one of the weakest. She was shocked to see Cole watching. He said she didn't have much experience with archery. Stella has a few skills: positional caution, rapid fire to increase shooting speed, and, as a potential skill, binding, which temporarily immobilizes a living target in place. The hero didn't expect it, and the skill even has an A+ rank. If she were a regular long-range fighter, he would have taught her to charge arrows with mana or recognize escape routes. But because of her skills, that's impossible. Cole thinks she should rely on her ability more than her bow. Be a support standing behind her teammates, not someone on the front line. But Stella doesn't think she can do much with just one skill. Right now, sure. But when binding evolves, she'll be able to stop enemies even out of sight. All that's left is to unlock that ability. No rush. Cole put a hand on her shoulder and said, "She's already a great addition to the team, a radar pointing the way, allowing for critical interceptions. But of course, that doesn't mean no more training." Stella blushed again. Cole sent her to the training field. She's got a 5-minute survival task waiting for her. Stella knows he's watching and asks what he wants. Not that she can hear his answer right now. A bunch of scorpions attacked her. The Association Center's capabilities aren't limited to just a regular arena or a standard gym. There's also a special training zone here, a dungeon designed for leveling up scouting skills made specifically for scouts. There's no better place for Stella to unlock her potential. Cole wants her training all day. Meanwhile, Caitlin kept following him around. Hunters are a weird bunch. Scott lost his match, and he got upset when he realized the coach and Cole saw the whole thing. Cole told him not to stress. He thinks Scott's got the most potential. Scott's got a strong ability and some serious physical attributes. His only problem is that he doesn't understand when to use his skills. Plus, he lacks finesse. Cole wants him to focus on learning and watch replays of players with a style like his. For example, Ben, a tank with 4,813 points. And to make sure Scott actually learns something, Cole expects him to send analytical reports on every match. Freddie and Sean's ratings are pretty high, and Derek's too, to be fair. Seems like Derek wants to climb higher since he asked for some special tactics. Cole thought he could use his glowing weapon effect. Just need to figure out how to make it work. That girl finally left. No idea why she was even following him. Weirdly enough, Caitlin was in a good mood today. She managed to beat Ben, a tough opponent in this kind of match. Plus, she ran into Cole, a 3rd Division player who beat Takumi. She followed him around hoping to see him in action, but Cole was just training his team. Boring. And honestly, Caitlin thinks his team sucks. Looks like she's got nothing to worry about. Cole and his team ran their grenadier tactic again. Wonder if there's a team out there that can counter it. After the match, Stella kept training, and Cole was watching closely. Since the season started, the team's been on a winning streak, but no guarantees that'll last. Their next opponent, LTD, the first tough team they'll face. Suddenly, Yusuf told Cole they should focus on training for this match. He doesn't get why Cole's making Stella do all this. Cole gave her the task of catching a monster or minion alive, hoping it'd trigger her ability. But he can't just say that to Yusuf. So, he told him Stella needs to improve her survival skills. Mobility is key for that. But even more important is improving her understanding of how the enemy thinks during an attack. Cole's training her to think like an attacker, helping her identify perfect ambush spots, and strategies for eliminating opponents. Looks like Yusuf actually bought it. Meanwhile, a monster broke through Stella's trap. Finally, in that stressful situation, her binding skill kicked in. She collapsed to the ground, confused about what just happened. Cole waited for it. Looks like their match with LTD is in the bag. Per and LTD managers are at a press conference for interviews. Par stormed through the season with their new strategy. The host asked Brandon if his team's ready to counter it. He confidently confirmed. People might think it was reckless to reveal this, but honestly, Brandon doubts Per's team could do anything anyway. LTD's getting a new player in the next match. Interesting since they rarely change their roster. Fans can't wait to find out who the new member is. That's it for the press conference. See you on stage. Cole's trying to figure out who LTD's new member is. Unfortunately, he doesn't remember anyone from their roster before this. Derek walked over, thinking Cole was watching a leaked video of the new player. Cole told him to knock it off. LTD's not dumb enough to let their trump card get leaked. But Derek was serious and pointed at the screen. It's Levi Stark. Cole didn't expect to see him this early. In his past life, when Cole was in LTD, Levi was the first one who joined after him. If you had to describe him in one sentence, he's a support who outclasses ranged fighters. His ability? An S+ rank skill. He can single-handedly wreck any strategy. The match has already started. Cole told his guys they're using the grenadier tactic. He said to throw the bombs as soon as 3 or more enemies gather. They need to take out as many opponents as possible before they regroup. Once the mana bombs run out, Freddie and Sean should join the main squad. Stella asked what she should do. Cole told her just to wait. The team regrouped, and she reported the enemies were gathering in a building on the south side of the arena. She thinks they should blow it up. Could potentially wipe out everyone at once. But Cole said to attack before they all group up. So Freddy immediately got the coordinates and launched his knives with bombs attached. They landed and killed 2 enemy players running to their teammates. The rest of the enemies are in the south building. Cole's team is together. Looks like they're gonna steamroll them. LTD's got nothing special. Freddy said the enemies are grouped, so he doesn't think 1 mana bomber will be enough. Time to play their trump card. Cole told them to drop the bombs. The assault squad will go in before the dust clears. Cole knows Levi's ability and how he could counter their plan. But the team needs to see it for themselves. They need to understand every strategy has a limited number of uses. Freddy launched his knives, but the bombs just exploded mid-air. Yep, that was Levi, just as Cole expected. Adam's deep in thought right now. Levi was just a normal kid who lived with his parents in the tower's safe zone, at least until monsters tore through their lives. The chairman took him in years ago. Back then, Levi kept screaming that he wanted to get revenge on the monsters. He threw himself into training to achieve that goal. But before he was ready, the last dungeon with monsters was cleared. Without a reason for his anger, Levi spiraled into depression and left Adam. The chairman still couldn't figure out where he disappeared. He would never have thought he'd join LTD. Of all people, he will be playing against Cole. This fight is more interesting to Adam than to anyone else. It's quite important to him. Derek was worried about the explosion, but the hero reassured him. He said not to panic over every little thing. The guys have already taken out 2 with the mana bombers, now it's 5 against 7. Per has the advantage, so they're sticking to the plan. Cole told Sean and Freddy to join him and Stella to wait. The guys burst into the building where the opposing team was hiding. Cole doesn't want this to turn into a direct confrontation. Freddy started the attack first, surprisingly tactical for a 3rd Division team. Levi realized that Sean and Freddy wanted to corner him. Not good, he won't last against that many people. Levi was jumping on air step platforms and Freddy was trying to hit him. But then Levi activated his pulse, knocking everyone around off their feet. The guys couldn't stay on their feet, objects were falling. Levi admits that PER is pretty good, but compared to Adam, they are nothing. The outcome was expected. After all, the grenadier strategy was all they had. Meanwhile, Derek pounced on one of the enemies. However, while he was distracted, another guy immobilized him. As a result, Derek was taken out, eliminated with a sword strike. Levi thought it would be easy, but he forgot about Cole. Turns out the platforms were scattered on purpose. The hero did everything to aim as accurately as possible. Levi quickly hid behind a wall. He thought Cole was just as good as him, if not better. The guy with the sword tried to knock the gun out of the hero's hands, but it was all useless. Thus, out of 4, only 3 remained. Luckily, Sean was okay. He thanked the hero for buying some time. 2 enemies remained outside. Cole asked Freddy and Sean to take care of them. And our hero will face Levi head-on. It's time to end this fight. The commentator says that entering enemy territory seemed deadly dangerous, but Cole's skill proved otherwise. Our hero had already impressed the crowd in scrims, training games, and real matches. But he demonstrated such overwhelming strength in a direct duel for the first time. However, his opponent cannot be underestimated. It's hard to say who is stronger between the two. Cole may have killed 2 LTD members, but that doesn't mean much in a one-on-one battle. Despite his mobility, if Levi can predict his moves, the pulse skill guarantees victory. In other words, it all came down to a battle of wits. In that case, the more experienced one will win. Cole has only just become a pro player. Adam is curious to see if he can win. 3-time champion of the International Hunter League, 3-time winner of the off-season championship, 8 MVP awards, 4 victories in all-star matches, and 2 wins in smaller tournaments. These are all Cole's past achievements, which he takes pride in. When it comes to understanding the game, the hero doesn't think anyone can surpass him. So the duel is in full swing. Levi admits Cole is good, but how will he handle his pulse? Everything started shaking. The hero's mana shield won't hold up. In that case, he'll take Levi out right now. But it seems his training with Adam wasn't in vain. He's gathering mana while dodging bullets. He definitely wants to take down Cole in the air. Then the hero told Stella to be ready. The air currents will reveal Levi's next move. As soon as he stopped to use his skill, Stella bound his arm. The guy hadn't gathered enough mana and was now immobilized. If Cole lets him escape now, his reputation as a legendary sniper will be lost. And these were his last thoughts before the hero delivered the final shot to the guy. Levi fell, and Team Pear won the match. Adam was stunned. He had no idea Stella had such a skill. Cole knows how to achieve success. Suddenly, someone called the chairman at such an hour. The person wanted to know if Adam saw the match. Of course he did. Cole was a thorn in his side. The man on the other end of the line agreed. Our hero was better than Levi. And then he told Adam to bring Cole over sometime. His daughter really enjoyed watching the match. Strange, Eliza never showed interest in the lower divisions. What got into her? In the locker room, Freddie was passionately typing the story of how Cole heroically defeated LTD's team. He came up and hit the guy on the head asking what he was doing. Judging by the silence, Freddie will likely continue writing as soon as Cole turns away. The hero was chosen as the most valuable player of the match and was told to get ready for an interview. The host says it was a truly phenomenal match and asks if Cole expected this victory. The answer is, of course. The public seems to have forgotten what he said at the beginning of the season. The hero claimed that no team would stand, and it would be humiliating for the top teams to lose. The host remembered that press conference caused quite a stir. Now they're going to look at the best moment of the match and discuss it. The highlight, according to the audience, was when Levi was bound and Cole shot him. The hero was asked to share what he was thinking at that moment and whether he had planned the duel. Should he tell the truth or brag a little? It would be more fun if Cole teased his opponent. Levi is probably upset right now. In his past life, things were tense after every win. So Cole said he's always ready for the possibility of a duel, so nothing was unexpected. But he has to admit that the opposing team's headliner, he thinks his name was Larry. The host panicked and quietly corrected him, saying the guy's name was Levi. So Cole thinks Lovey is mediocre. He easily fell right into the trap. But it's not his failure. Cole is just too good. The guy is furious. Now Levi will form his first impression of our hero. Maybe he went too far. And that's great, because that's how an interview should be.